And here we go.
In 5, 4, 3.
Call to me, lands far away.
Elves have forests to protect.
We need to build a wall.
Dwarfs their mines. Men their fields of grain. But we Harfoots have each other.
For I must now wander this wandering day.
We're safe.
You have fought long enough, Galadriel.
No.
Put up your sword.
The enemy is still out there. The question now is where?
It is over.
Nothing is over! Nothing! You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Darkness will march over the face of the earth. It will be the end, not just of our people, but all peoples.
Everyone! I am sorry, but their time has come.
The past is with us all. The past is dead.
We either move forward or we die with it.
This could be the beginning of a new era.
Away I must wander this wandering day.
To him finally being lionized in the prime and his prime. Fuck.
Do it!
Shit.
Just do it! Don't let your dreams end. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Luke went from being... Oh, no. Welcome, Slayer Nation. I have some great news for you today. I hope you're all doing great. Nope, that didn't work. One more.
You have failed me for the last time.
Welcome, Slayer Nation. I hope...
If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up.
That is eating away at what you love in order for it to shine. And one man's vision is... Sometimes you don't have to make things better for them to be great again. You merely have to Okay. Hollywood continues to slow boil the culture and crazy. Well, right now, Spider-Man actor Andrew Garfield has stepped up and he's fighting motherfucker.
I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Canon unbearded dwarves, but Prime didn't stop there. They stapled in intersectionality, individuality, biddiga-dig-bee, biddiga-dig-boo.
So it begins. At my signal, unleash hell.
Ladies and gentlemen, George the Giant Slayer.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Slayer Nation Live. It's March 16th, 2025 in the year of our Lord, and I hope you're all doing well. It's great to be back. I missed you this week. We didn't have Slayer Unchained, but it's coming back this Wednesday. Just had a few things to do, but we'll be back on schedule in the next couple of days. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, there's a lot to talk about. We have Andor coming up. Invincible Season 3 just had its finale, and let me just tell you, that was amazing. If anybody remembers the movie Body, it's getting remade. I feel so bad about it. And then you got Starship Troopers is coming back. Yes, they're going to be making a Starship Troopers movie. Plus, Disney's having a few problems with Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. Snow White is coming out next weekend already. There are storm clouds on the horizon. Plus, President Trump got hit in the face with a microphone from an NPR reporter, which was just outed. We have Attorney General Pam Bondi, who just smacked down a judge who tried to halt deportations of, violent international criminal gangs, Tren de Agua. And you had El Salvador's president who laughed his ass off because he's like, guess what? Too bad your midnight order. A little bit too late because everybody already arrived in this country. We got a lot more. So, plus we had Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie, he came out today. It was actually a couple of days ago. But he came out and he was so inspiring. This is the same guy who put out that Captain America message. Remember when Verbal and I were talking about it a few weeks ago? We were saying this could possibly be a mistake or he misspoke when he was saying Captain America doesn't represent America. And after we're going to watch this video, I think you're going to agree with it. This wasn't somebody who's trying to do, damage control, trying to repair his image. This was a man, a father, telling you straight how it is. And it's beautiful. You're going to love it. Plus, let's see who's here. So let's say hello to Talitha Brahma Bull. And my bloody camera went out. This is now the second camera. I think there's just like fucking little gremlins running around here. Razorburn, my favorite Rivethead, is here. Plus, Laners, how are you all doing? We got Eric K, King of the Mods, and a wonderful human being. Fletcher Williams is in the back producing. Let's get going. So, fuel those flamethrowers because we're going to be spitting the stupid and having fun talking about the truth. Let's bring him out here. We have my very good friend. He is coming back again because he just loves us so much. He has a good time. It is Paul Chato.
Hi.
Chato.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Yes, we are good friends, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm always happy that you're happy to be here.
It's good. Right now, I'm watching on my TV over here the storms around Ellicottville in New York, and it's quite the story.
It is. I actually have a video when we get everybody out here. It's horrible. It's gone through Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Mississippi, Arkansas, Kansas. It's just devastating. 30 people have passed away because of it. We're going to talk about that. It's horrible. Verbal Riot, DA. And Tom will be joining us in a moment. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How's it going, lads?
Doing great.
You look like you had a fun Saturday night, Verbal.
I'm recovering, man. I might have had a few too many screwdrivers last night, and let's just say I'm glad I was home. Because I was in bad shape.
You can always. It's a good thing, though. That's what life is for living.
Well, they should have cops positioned between the couch and the bed.
Yeah. It was, I stumbled to the bed, but I made it safely.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah, Flashcast kind of went off the rails last night, but in the best way possible.
Oh, it always does.
Yeah, I love Flashcast.
Best way possible, man.
I have got to get back on the show. I have missed being there because it's a ton of fun. So I think I'm going to do that next week. Okay. Let's see. I think people already started sending in supers. Let's just see what's going on, and then we're going to get to it. We have Blitzen. Hey, I said Blitzen, and then something else came in. Wait a minute. Blitzen gifted 10 George the Giant Slayer memberships Way to go, Blitzen. Thank you so much, my friend. Man, your support is amazing. Every week, every show, man is a legend, and he has kicked off the gifting war. Love it, because it keeps us growing. It keeps us getting bigger. That means your voice gets out there. Thank you, Blitzen. And then we have Mexican Iron Man, our intrepid producer. I haven't seen in months, but I still love it, even though I found him at Home Depot. For $10, donation for the Slayer Nation camera, PC, and cable annual repair and renovation fund. Well, thank you, my good friend. I appreciate it. I am going to get one more camera because, there's something going on with it. TGV Monster for $2. Kingpin would be a better New York City mayor than the current one. I wholeheartedly agree. I wholeheartedly agree. He'd clean it up. I'll tell you that for one thing. And it's been going crazy over there. You know, you had a bunch of wackadoos who did their own little incursion over the Trump Tower this week. They went nuts. And one of them, unfortunately, happened to be my former favorite actress when I was growing up, Deborah Winger. She went insane. In case anybody didn't see that, I'll show you a clip of that later. Did you see that, Paul? Deborah Winger went
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she's been insane for a while.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She admitted, which was hard to watch on camera, that she is a Jewish person who hates being Jewish.
What?
and because of Trump, because of Israel,
I have no idea. Israel, all of the above. Yeah, it was just weird. Someone admitting that they hate themselves. They go out to try to spread that hate. It's very odd. I remember Officer and a Gentleman, Wonder Girl from Wonder Woman? Didn't she play that? Wonder Girl.
I don't remember.
Yeah, from Linda Carter days. Anyway, she just went nuts.
Hollywood's in a weird place, man, because, and not just Hollywood, I think just the left are in a weird place because if you've noticed, they're the only ones who are spray painting swastikas on property and publicly coming out against the Jews. I'm like, what's going on here? And you guys are claiming that the right are racist and Nazis. You guys are literally doing the Nazi shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're like totally unhinged right now, damaging Teslas because, I mean, they used to love Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk was their hero because he was doing all the climate change stuff. He was their #1 supporter. And then
he was their Tony Stark.
Yeah. And now they're turned completely against them and they hate his guts. And they're out there like physically damaging Teslas, drawing swastika. It's the wildest timeline I've ever seen in my life, man. This is wild. But, you know, that's the left for you, man. They don't really have principles. They just kind of do whatever is popular at the time and whatever makes sense in their squirrely brains. That's what they do. And this is why they are who they are. And this is why they're losing, because people are tired of this shit. People want to get back to just normalcy.
But the thing that's crazy to me about Hollywood, though, is, I mean, let's just call a spade here, so to speak. It's still run by Jews, right? So, like, you guys are literally just publicly insulting Jewish people. And I'm like, how does this work exactly, right?
It's worse than that, Dante. Think about it. They've gone so crazy, they're now espousing how much they hate themselves. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, no, that's batshit crazy. But here's the thing. Like Paul said, she's always been nutty. So,
I didn't know that. I didn't know she was nutty. You know,
she's Shelley Duvall nuts.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that. You know, because, again, the only memories I have of her, it was Officer and a Gentleman, Terms of Endearment, and that's kind of like, that's it. And back then, you equated the actor to the role, especially as a kid. You're like, oh, that's how they must be. But so it's been all those years since then. And she comes out like a...
I'm telling you, the worst thing that happened to the Hollywood celebrity was social media.
Yep.
That was the worst thing that happened to him.
Yep.
100%.
Before that, there was like an air of mystique about a celebrity, right?
Yep.
You didn't know too much about them. You know, you saw them on the red carpets. There was like this era of mystery, right? And social media, unfortunately, broke that mystery. And you see what ass clowns they are now.
Well, they kind of needed it in the sense it's logical if you think about it, because prior to social media, they got an idea of their influence through going to an event and seeing how many people are yelling and cheering for them. And they fed off that, and they absolutely needed that. Now, social media meant success was was generated by the number of people who were following you. So it wasn't just walking into a premiere and having people scream as you were walking along the red carpet. Now there's quantitative values. And Hollywood is measuring whether they're going to hire you or not based on the size of your social media following also, because they're assuming that you're going to drag them along to the cinema or the TV show, right?
Yeah, but it don't
So
work that
there's
way, though.
what's different is that it's been metricized, if I can, coin a word, and the actors feed and they actually compete against each other in
For
terms
who's
of
more
how many.
crazy?
Pardon me, what?
For who's more crazy?
No,
or
no,
for
no. Who has more followers?
I got you. But as we
But see, it don't work
we,
that way. That doesn't turn into ticket sales. We see that all the time. It doesn't turn into actual sales at the box office. It's literally people on social media you might get a bigger following on social media. That doesn't mean that these people are coming to watch your movie. You know, that doesn't mean that at all.
It's
so
because
they need to go
don't
back to being
right.
good at your go back to being good at acting. You're like,
Well, the
I'm a
thing
good
is,
actor. That's why I should be hired into this film. You know,
they don't know how to be social media personalities is the issue. You take a look at Taylor Swift. She knows how to manage her social media, although she has people doing it for her, but she is made for social media. But a lot of actresses, so for instance, what's her name, who was Ms. Marvel?
Oh, Brie Larson.
Brie Larson actually created a YouTube channel that flopped because she's not hungry enough to maintain a YouTube channel. You have to be kind of hungry and stupid, and
you gotta love it too.
You gotta love it, and you got to explore it to the point where you start getting what it is that you're doing, because it's its own has its own zeitgeist. And most actors and actresses don't know what to do with to be a real social media personality. So I would put it to you that those people who have, hundreds of thousands of followers, if they actually knew how to communicate with them in a proper social media way, I think that would translate to bums and seats.
Maybe it would. I know with Brie Larson, she probably gave the foot fetish corner of the internet something with her Bigfoot bunions. I remember she was doing all those yoga workouts. People would send clips. I'm like, I don't want to see that.
I still like her, by the way.
I just got put on to that. Her fit. Listen, I just saw her foot for the first time like a couple of weeks ago, and I was just like, "Holy crap! Are you serious? This is what she's working with." Now I can see why people hate her, because them some terrible toes, man.
Some canoes. Those are some canoes.
Yeah, not everybody has nice feet.
It's not canoes. She doesn't take care of them. I'm sorry. Again, if you're going to be an actor, you're going to be a celebrity who's going to use your body, you gotta take care of that. It's
you know what? I will say this to her credit. She has
a great rack.
Her tune. like she's not saying as many stupid things.
No, she's not.
Right?
Yeah.
Like she's kind of just going. She's kind of retreated, and maybe she's trying to revamp now, right? Yep. So I at least give her that.
Yeah, because she saw Rachel Zegler take her
that, I think Rachel Zegler is probably going to do after Snow White.
Really? Because of something I think crossed the wire today about Rachel Zegler clapping back. We'll get into that in a second. Oh my God. And she was just cast. I cannot believe it. She was just cast in a theater production in London's West End.
I can believe that. She's built for theater, man. She's not built for Hollywood. Yeah. Like the theater audience and the theater culture would love her.
Oh yeah,
like they would love her because they're all pretentious, they're all phony. Like she'll get along perfect.
Hey, wait, I had most of my career was in theater.
I'm talking Broadway, man.
Are you saying that I'm pretentious?
I'm talking Broadway here.
Okay.
No, I agree with Dante. I think Zegler's going to hide out in Broadway and in theater for the next 5 years and kind of learn a little bit, because she just found out. Basically, Rachel Zegler found out, F around and find out. She found out. And now she's about to go run and hide in Broadway, get off the Hollywood scene.
No. She's in the UK.
Come back 5 years from now.
She's in the West End.
It's going to be in the West End. It's Evita.
Yeah.
She's doing
this. This is pretty much what I said was going to happen. She was going to go off, do this kind of thing for a couple of years. She'll do an interview in a few years with GQ or Variety, or people, somebody like that. She'll blame the fans and Disney, and then she'll try to make some little comeback. She'll be in a bunch of little indie movies where she's like the third build because she's a big enough name where she can get some investment money from, some guy from Timbuktu. But yeah, she'll make a quiet comeback, and we'll never hear from her again.
You know what though? I would love to know like what her relationship is like with her agent right now.
Oh,
well, they're pissed at her probably.
Like I would just love to. I'd love to hear a conversation between her and her agent. Like,
because who do you think's getting the nasty phone calls from Disney?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. It's crazy. Okay, let me wrap these up and then we'll do it. Bob the Lobster gifted 5 Georgia Giant Slayer membership. Way to go, Bob! Everybody, please go thank Bob. Bob is a champion. Love it. Thank you, Bob. A steel leg of history for $5. I'll be getting my new fake leg started on the 24th. I'll be using Jay and X-Wing's pirate shirt. Thanks for all your support and kindness. Well, God bless you, my friend. Can't wait to see your fake leg. I know you sent one to Adam. So I want to see a picture of it. We got to put it there, Be cool. Skid Spivak gifted 10 Georgia Giant Slayer membership. Man, I'm blessed with all you people. Thank you, Skid. Everybody. Oh, thanks, Skid. Awesome. That's the way to start it. And then we have one more from Adam Krigler, my very good friend. Smash the like button. He's absolutely right. Doesn't cost you anything. It helps us in the algorithm. Smash like, smash it again, and smash it one more time because you would have smashed it once, turned it on, then turned it off. Okay. Anyway, we had over the last 24 hours a tornadoes blasting everywhere. This freak weather in Texas, Mississippi, Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas,
Tennessee.
Yeah, and unfortunately, 30 people have passed. So if y'all are living there, please know my thoughts and prayers are with you. If you have relatives there, again, I'm looking up and researching to find organizations that we can post in a little bit where you could volunteer or help because there are a lot of fakes out there.
Oh, yeah. Violent tornadoes spawned from an enormous storm system touched down in at least 7 states Friday night into Saturday. Oh, my God. Near St. Louis, Missouri, the storms arrived in the dark, illuminated by lightning strikes.
I had glass flying everywhere into my face and my arms and everything.
Dan Longstrom took cover inside the cab of his tractor trailer in this community west of St. Louis. His truck slammed by another truck, pushed over by the high winds. He watched as the twister blew apart a nearby gas station and restaurant.
And there's tons of people up in the store that were just running around crying and screaming, and it was pretty scary.
Families in a nearby neighborhood.
It's horrible. It's just horrible what's going on, and I just want everybody to know that our thoughts are with you. Now, on positive note, I was realizing it last Sunday that I've never asked if people are having birthdays. So if you're having a birthday today or this weekend or celebrating a wedding anniversary or you got a new job or quit a crap one and you're starting something new, let us know. Put it in the comments, send a chat, something so we can then congratulate you, wish you well. You get everybody behind you, Slayer Nation. I love to hear that. So if you got a birthday, let me know. Happy birthday. Now, I was telling Paul this right before we started, before we get into the whole Rachel Ziegler thing. Does anybody remember Body Heat, the movie with Turner? Kathleen Turner.
Oh, of course, man. That was like, come on, man. Growing up in the 80s, every guy remembers that movie.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a hot movie.
So I'm not the only. Okay, good. So Paul and I aren't alone. Well,
I mean, she doesn't look like that anymore, but
no. She looks more like Harry Beaver. What's her name? The one who did Acolyte. Headland.
Oh, God.
I feel bad for guys. Something must have happened medically, so I feel bad for him. I'm fucking with it. But they decided that they were going to, it's been too long. So Body Heat is getting a remake.
Why?
I know. That's the same thing I was asking, but with Emma Stone.
I mean, if
I don't see it.
If Emma's going to go like, if she's going to go all in, then I'm okay with it. But if it's going to be half-assed,
Seriously, she looks.
I like Emma, but I can't deal with the speech impediment and the fact she has no hips.
I kind of agree with that.
And no breasts, and she's not a femme fatale, and she reminds me of a kid.
I like her.
I do. I like her acting ability. I like her personality. I just don't see her as Kathleen Turner was a femme fatale, sultry, sexy, just boom.
Yeah, they needed somebody more like, I guess, womanly to play
The
that
smoky
part.
voice.
There you go.
Yeah, she was a classic. I mean, I think she, as many actresses were told back in the day, drink bourbon and smoke.
Yeah.
And that was to lower their voice and then make it more,
Like George Singer.
Well, what's her? I'm sorry. No, I'm trying to. Betty Davis.
Mm.
You know, that kind of tone. Now it's bad for health, and very few actresses are doing it now, which is why almost all of them have this squeaky tone about them. And with this era of girl bosses and women dressing androgynously as opposed to like men, and overcorrecting for the fact that they don't really have as good a range as most men when it comes to playing bad guys. They all, they try for the manly, stern. They're stern. They're constantly stern. They only have one. That's their imitation of a strong guy, is the stern, and it doesn't work.
And then they come back with a squeaky voice like this. I'm going to kill you.
Zendaya's voice drives me crazy.
That's right. I mean, and that's part of the problem. Zendaya should drink bourbon and smoke. And
there's just better actresses out there that could play that part, man. I mean, even like a Florence Pugh might have been a better choice, for that.
Yeah, she's a good actress.
Yeah.
Lily Deparose, after I saw her Nosferatu, that woman has acting chops like her dad. She could do it.
She probably could. I mean, I think there's better choices. Emma Stone's a weird one for me, man, because I do like her. I just don't know if she's good for this part.
Body Heat, you remember? I mean, so I was thinking when I saw Body Heat, I'm like, are we going to go back to a new phase of 9.5 weeks, Basic Instinct? Are we going back that route? Because it's been a long time.
But here's the thing. I don't know if we can anymore, man. Like, I feel like the days of the erotic thriller aren't like, see, I mean, we have to remember too, man, back in those days, like, porn wasn't everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, you had to go to specific places to get porn, right? But when you had the erotic thriller, that was kind of like a cheat code where, you could see some good acting, you could see a good story, but you could also see some sex, right? Like, I don't know if we're in that place anymore where the erotic thriller means anything.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it's like bombarded with, they're like, why? They'll just go online.
I think for women, yes, because I think for women, that's their kind of thing, right? Women like a story, they like the build up and that whole deal. But I don't think that's a theater movie anymore. I think that's a streaming movie now.
But do you remember the days when you had a 9.5 weeks? It was like it captured the zeitgeist. Everyone was talking about it. I didn't know what the hell it was because I was too young to watch it when it came out, but it was everywhere. I mean, everybody discussed it.
Well, yeah, you had the two hottest actors in the world at the time, Mickey Rourke and Kim Basinger. So I mean,
before he looked like he got hit by a Mack truck.
Mickey Rourke completely destroyed himself. I mean,
I never knew what happened to him. He literally looks like he got hit by a Mack truck.
Because he decided, like, stupidly, that he would go into boxing.
Is that what it was?
He tried to go into professional boxing.
And got beat out of him. Wrestling, boxing, No, he's a crazy guy, and he lived his life the way he wanted to live it. I have a lot of respect for him. Then he went through the plastic surgery phase, and that was hilarious. But I mean, I don't think Sofia Vergara isn't the right person. But if someone looked that hot, I think they would never cast her. It has to be an androgynous woman. Today, if they had Marina, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, Baccarin.
Okay. Oh, Baccarin. Yeah.
Baccarin. I would watch anything.
Be great. She'd be hell yeah.
She's
Firefly.
Stunning. Like she's
breathtaking.
Beautiful woman.
Absolutely. And she's a good actress.
And a good actress. And that's the kind of breakout role she would need. So yeah. But
it's just nuts. But now coming up on that. Right after you have Body Heat, we're getting another one, which is going to be remade. It is where the hell did I
hold on? Even although she's tiny, Anya Taylor-Joy, I'm hot for.
Really?
Yeah. No,
but again, she's kind of girly though, not really womanly.
No, I know, but I still.
Haley Atwell, amen, hallelujah. Yes. I love you, Mark Daly.
There you go.
There you go.
$5.
I'm all in.
Right there.
If you could put Haley Atwell in anything, I'm there.
Or Rebecca Ferguson.
Oh
yeah, she would be good for that too.
She is perfect for Body Heat. That is the Kathleen Turner look. Oh yeah, Silo.
Rebecca Ferguson, man.
Hold on, let me read the super chat that Mark Daly had up there. Mark Daly for $5. Haley Atwell would have been a better choice for Body Heat any day of the week. But I also agree. First of all, thank you, Mark Daly, for that. Bless you. And then I also agree with Verbal. Rebecca Ferguson. She has that steamy, sultry look about her.
She's also a star.
I tried watching that one movie with Jenna Ortega and Martin Freeman, and that was kind of like an erotic thriller.
Which one?
It's the one where like they're in this they're like basically in a I think she's a student, he's over her, and like it's a very inappropriate relationship that he's having with this girl. Okay. But the problem with that for me was, like, if it were Sydney Sweeney, it would make a lot more sense because, you know, she's voluptuous. But
Yeah.
Jenna Ortega still looks like a little girl.
Yes, she does.
So
she's small. She's short.
Yeah, it didn't work. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. Not one bit.
Like it looked too inappropriate. You know what I mean?
Who was the girl who won the Oscar this year? And I kept seeing people were saying, was it because of her sex scenes or because of the way that she was half naked? The one who got the Best Actress award.
I don't know what her name is.
Oh, Mikey or
yeah.
God, what's her name? Mikey something.
I'd never seen her.
Or Honora, right?
Honora. That's right. Well, joining Body Heat and being remade.
Yeah, Mikey Madison is her name.
Mikey Madison. We also have Neil Blomkamp is going to direct Starship Troopers for Sony.
Why? Stop, please.
Yeah.
Just stop. Make new shit.
I know, but this is what he says. Neil Blomkamp is set to write and direct Starship Troopers, told the Hollywood Reporter, specified that Blomkamp's take is not a remake of the Verhoeven movie. It says to go back to Heinlein's novel. I don't know. That could be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Heinlein's novel is different. You know, in many ways, Starship Trooper and the very first Iron Man has that same kind of zeitgeist.
Right.
They're really taking on the you know, the big picture of society and militarism and you know what the result of that is.
It's just really sad. I mean,
that's a good movie. Like what? I mean, I don't understand the point of it.
But you nailed it, though. This is the year I think we're going to have more sequels, reboots, and remakes than ever. The last count I had a month ago was 36, either reboots, remakes, or recycles or reimaginings.
Yeah, but well, I mean, take a look at the top 100 books on the New York Times bestseller list, and it's like two guys. The rest are women talking about themselves. And you're going, okay, what am I going to make movies out of this? Nothing.
Yeah, there's just nothing there.
There's no source material.
And we can always count on Pedro Pascal to help us. I thought it was funny. Scientists predicted by 2050, every popular show may involve Pedro Pascal as scoring Magic Child 50.
You mean Mr. Masculinity himself?
Yes, because he's getting a new movie. That's why I brought it up. Another one.
Yeah, I honestly, him and Zendaya, I don't understand. I really don't.
He's a good actor, but I mean, let's have a range. Yeah, I mean,
he's a good television actor, but do you think he's a movie actor? Like, does he have the chops for movies? I see him as television, great. I agree. But like, do you really
cast him in everything?
Yeah, it's dumb.
And now Spike Jonze is putting him as the lead in his new unnamed movie. The guy who did Her and Being John Malkovich and Where the Wild Things Are. It's his 5th movie, I think. So they're like, so he put this Instagram post up. Guess who I'm with? And you see Pedro there smiling.
The problem is that he's not even up there with Lee J. Cobb. I mean, we had this fantastic, and I've talked about this before. One of the beauties of Hollywood was just this mid-level stars. Lee Marvin, Lee Van Cleef. I would go see their movies. And I'm not even talking about the big stars. You would get these mid-level movies with mid-budgets, and you were happy to go see Lee Van Cleef in it because you just liked them. And that's gone. Those people are gone, and now they're trying to rely on Pedro Pascal. And I think he's a good actor, but I wouldn't go see a movie just because he's in it. I'm not even talking about Henry Fonda. I'm not talking about the superstars. We don't have those anymore.
Nope.
No, but I mean, it's like it feels like overload with Pascal.
Who's the actor that you do go to see that you just go to see that actor? You know, who is that guy today?
Tom
Used
Cruise?
to be Cusack, I would. But now that he's turned into a Jew-hating turd, I'm not touching him.
John Cusack.
But I would have gone. I went to see everything Cusack was in.
Oh, Say Anything, Gross Point Blank. I loved all his
High Fidelity.
I don't know. I don't know if there's a star, but I think for me there are directors who I'll always go see. Like
directors
Tarantino,
for sure.
Tarantino puts out a movie, I'm there. But I don't know if there's an actor anymore where I'm like, yeah, that guy's in it, I'm going to go watch it. You know, like the closest to me would probably be Henry Cavill, but
yeah.
I would say Denzel, Tom Cruise, and Cavill for me. Those three.
You know what? Yeah, I'd put Denzel on that list. I mean, but
Cavill's not made anybody any money in the movie front. He is seemingly a movie star, but
no, I totally agree with that.
Nicolas Cage, I will also say, because someone mentioned.
I think that's the problem is that the movie star is gone. There's no movie star. You're going to see the movie based on the concept, whatever the movie is about. And if they put the right person in it, that might increase your interest. But I don't think we're going to see movies strictly, the general public is going to see a movie strictly based on the fact that they cast a particular actor in that.
Gentleman Cruise still holds that title though.
I think we even with Tom Cruise, put him in something not Mission Impossible or Top Gun or something. Just a regular movie. Are you going to see it? Some people will, but I think like maybe Leo.
Maybe Leo, yeah.
Maybe
but like just going to a movie just because of an actor, I think those days are gone. Like back in the
Sigourney
day,
Weaver. I watched pretty much anything that she was in. I liked her, and then her co-star in Dave.
Kevin Kline.
Kevin Kline.
I don't know what happened to him either. Fish called Wanda. Yeah.
I mean, I to show you like what star power used to be like, man. Like there was a time where Tom Cruise made you want to go watch a bartending movie.
You're right, exactly.
Right?
I remember
a movie about being a bartender.
But that's my point, Dante.
But just because Tom Cruise was in it, we went to go watch it.
Hey,
right. You don't go to movies like just, Tom Cruise, bartender. Hell, why not? Let's go and check it out. We don't do that any longer.
But see that now that y'all said that, you know what I remember? I didn't know the names of half the movies that I would go. If they were to say like it's Tom Cruise or Selleck or Freeman, whoever, I was like, when I heard the name, I didn't care what movie it was. I would go because they were in it. Yeah. That's what's missing today. I even tried to do that cocktail shit he did. I broke half a dozen glasses. I kept trying that shit. I flip it, watching it, pausing it, and I'm like, what? And it smashed. My fucking roommates.
Dante, your days as a bartender, man, was you trying that shit?
Oh, absolutely not. Dude, I would have gotten fired, man. There's no way, dude. Like, are you kidding me?
But I did. He didn't watch it. And you're like, I can do that too. And he's like, shit.
Now,
but that's the thing. He had everybody thinking they could be an acrobatic bartender, right? But Tom Cruise was so powerful, man, back in those days that after Top Gun, there was like some ridiculous increase in Navy pilots after that movie.
There was,
like people who signed up to be Navy pilots, like because of that movie and because of him.
How many wanted to be named Maverick? That's what
I'm sure.
And they're all, I want to be Maverick. No.
Let's also not forget that maybe the one era that has been crushed more than any is the comedy movie.
Oh, God.
I'd go see Cheech and Chong. I mean, there was just so many, and for the most part, comedy movies never really made a lot of money, but they were also not made for a ton of money. Car Wash was a great comedy. So there was just so much interesting stuff filled with the people that you wanted to, just because you thought they were funny and you wanted to see the shit that they were into, and it didn't have to be brilliant.
Mel Gibson, yeah.
Mel Gibson isn't a comedian.
But no. I was just thinking. Sorry, I was.
But comedy is gone.
He's still on that. Yeah. Who do you go to see?
Just 3 Minute Baby. I remember when 3 Minute Baby came out. It was with Selleck, Gutenberg. I can't remember the third one. And they said the biggest comedy in the world.
Yeah, Dancing.
That was huge. That was really successful for Disney. But that was a remake of a French version.
I didn't know that.
Which was much funnier and much more French. The French version, oh boy, did they sanitize
Really?
the American. Oh yeah, because
I gotta check that out.
the woman who gave up the baby was not a nice person.
Oh.
Yeah, the last comedy comedian I would go out and watch every movie is Jim Carrey.
Jim
When
Carrey,
he was in his
Steve
prime,
Martin.
I would go every Jim Carrey movie that came
Oh,
out.
yeah.
I was in the theater.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know, right there. And then Eddie Murphy, obviously, every Eddie Murphy coming up. You see every Eddie Murphy movie.
I was so
you're
loyal
there.
to Eddie Murphy. I went and seen Vampire in Brooklyn in the theater.
Wow. Wow.
But even go back,
Opening day.
think of the days when it was Abbott and Costello and they were cranking out, you know, movie the Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello, Marx Brothers. Comedy was just so important. Now, a lot of these comedies first played on Broadway and then they were made into film. So they had really amazing amount of testing with regards to just how many laughs that you know, movie was probably going to get from the audience, because it was honed to within an inch of its life while it was on Broadway. I mean, what comedies are on Broadway, you know, that then get, you know, the Neil Simon stuff. I mean, holy smokes.
Oh, Biloxi Blues.
Yes.
And yeah. But
The
there's
Apartment.
a reason. The Apartment. Oh my! I'll tell you what I love the most, since he's also now passed, because I said it for the last 3 weeks. I've been doing a Gene Hackman marathon. I just watched The Birdcage.
Yeah,
he was brilliant in that. But there's a reason we didn't have comedies. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I hate talking about politics when it comes to entertainment. There's a reason you don't. I believe one of the reasons is because when you try to push any type of leftist radical agenda, or any radical agenda on any side, but specifically leftism, you have to kill humor. You can't just go, at least in my opinion, no holds barred. You know that as a comedian. How long have we gone through this drought where you had Seinfeld even said it, you know, he can't do college gigs anymore.
Oh no,
He
we sensed that when we were performing in the 80s. There was a change in the college. They would specifically ask us not to do certain material.
Well,
so
see, that's my thing, man. Like, I might not agree with everything, but at the same time, comedy should be sacred, right? Comedy should be untouched. You know, I like Dave Chappelle said many times, man, when he's on that stage, he's going to say whatever the fuck he wants when he's on that stage.
Amen.
Now, if he's out in real life and he says some crazy shit, then yeah, you know, then you handle it and you take your lumps and all that stuff. But when you're on that stage, it is sacred and you say whatever the fuck you want. And if it lands, it lands. If it doesn't land, it doesn't. But you should be able to say whatever you want to say when you're on that stage.
You know, yes and no, in the sense. So I made a living out of this for 20 years. And my philosophy, our philosophy with the Frantics was, let's say we had a show and just for the sake of argument, the entire show was 10 bits.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a range of bits, some bits which are controversial, some bits which weren't. But if we have a catalog of 40 bits that we all love, and if we put together 10 bits that don't break any rules, there's still the 10 bits that we absolutely love. So it's one of the things, and you guys haven't had this experience, where we would go into a writing meeting with other comedy writers, and they would come in with one idea that they would just hammer over and over again as the idea that they want into the show. Whereas the Frantics always wrote 100. We didn't care which one you picked. We didn't care because we liked them all.
But did you self-edit?
Paul, you were still making the choice, right?
Did you self-censor?
I'm saying you guys made the choice, though. You made the choice.
Yeah, we made the choice.
The audience didn't make the choice for you, right?
No. We made the choice, but if it's 10 clean things over 10 dirty, 10 controversial things, it made no difference because we still loved those 10 things.
Sure. No, absolutely. And that's my point. Is I'm just saying, you know, if you're making a choice, then it's fine because you are the artist up there making the choice.
We were happy with that choice.
Yes. Media, no, you shouldn't have someone telling you, you know, that's not a part of that what you can and can't say when you're doing your bit. Now, if it doesn't land and you're just not funny, then the audience is going to let you know you're not funny.
Yes.
But you should be able to make that decision.
Well, I agree with that 100% because what you're saying is it was Paul and his troops' choice.
Yeah.
That's different than someone forcing them. Well, look at this. I was going to talk about Daredevil.
Or like when they were trying to force HBO to get to cut certain comedians off of their platform.
Oh
right?
God, yeah, that was horrible.
who are you to tell HBO who to cut off their platform?
Because comedy is freedom. It is the hallmarks of unfettered freedom. I think when it comes to comedy, yep.
Well, I was just saying, we grew up in, and I've talked to Paul a little bit about this before too. Like, we grew up in a time where stand-up comedians were treated like superstars, like rock stars. Like, if you go through, like, you had all the classic guys throughout the time, but once you hit that late 70s, early 80s stride, you've got more names than you can even think of as far as like hot comedians out there. Now your top comedians are like Jeff Dunham. That's it. But he's your number one comedian right now, and I'm not even kidding. He sells the most tickets.
Really?
But you go back in the day, you had everybody from like, Eddie Murphy to Bill Cosby to
Carlin's mine.
Carlin was a big one back then. You even had the more alternative comedians like Bobcat Goldthwait and stuff like that who would really
Sam Kinison,
Dice Clay.
Andrew Dice Clay's another one of those,
Hickory Dickory Dock.
But you had all these guys and Tim Allen and all these other guys where the whole goal was you get yourself well known and then you get yourself on a TV show on a network, right? Like that was the dream. You'd go from Carson to SNL to your own TV show eventually after you got your HBO or Showtime special, right? And even Howie Mandel was a huge name. Back then.
That was the golden era of comedy, of stand-up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we started with Howie Mandel at the same time. Along with Jim Carrey and a whole bunch of
he
other
was
things.
even one of the less. That's the funny thing is Jim Carrey became a huge star in the 90s, but as far as his stand-up, he could never seem to break through. But once he did Ace Ventura, it was off to the races.
Well, his stand-up actually was not really very good. It was very Las Vegas-y. And when I saw him start, and so he was a brilliant mimic, and mimics have terrible material. So that's traditionally
he even noticed that.
That's one of the things. So we even went up to him and said, "Hey, would you let us write a whole bunch of stuff for you because your mimicry
he might have used
fantastic."
it. Did he use it? Because I know in his book he said that he did go from a point where guys like you must have got to him because he said he went from being like you said all doing impressions the entire show to where he would no longer do any impressions.
But you know what, though? I mean, In Living Color, though, brought his shine to him, though, man. I think that's what tipped the scale for Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah.
Was in Living Color.
Well, like I said, Ace Ventura is when he went off to the races. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Ace Ventura got him that job.
Especially being the only white guy on that show, right?
Well, that's how they pitched it to him, right?
Yeah, probably.
But
he was the white dude. He was the white dude from
the one guy. He's like, look, here's our token white guy, Jim Carrey. Come on out here.
I'm just glad
and he killed it. And he killed it.
He was the best. Honestly, man, there was times he was the best thing going on in Living Color, man.
First time he come out,
Fire Marshal Bill.
Let me tell you something.
Like, oh my God, dude, Fire Marshal Bill was the most funniest character he had.
It shouldn't even be funny. That's the funny part about it,
right?
Like,
right.
It
but
feels
it's
like a
Jim
bad...
Carrey and the way he projected, where he brought that character out.
It was always 100%. There was no holding back.
Yeah,
but Jim was like that even back in our day, but without the material. He was fearless and the sweetest guy.
I always liked Rickles. He was dirty like Red Fox. Hilarious.
Oh, he wasn't as dirty as Red Fox.
Really?
Oh no! Oh no!
Have you ever seen? Man, Red Fox was on fire. Man.
Red Fox.
You know who was dirtier than Red Fox? Mom's Mabley.
Come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No, my God. See,
my grandfather loved Mom's Mabley.
Yeah. I gotta find her now.
I had her records. These were two comics who couldn't work in white clubs, so they worked in strip clubs. So you're trying to make a bunch of dudes who are there to see women get naked, and you're trying to get them to laugh. The material is pretty raunchy.
Hold on. We gotta take a look at this. Where is she?
Sophie? Not Sophie Tucker. Fields.
Ronnie Dangerfield.
No, Fields. The female comic. God damn it. Anyway, yes.
Not Sally Field.
No.
She was in that movie about comedians, but she was never a comedian.
No. Toady Fields.
Oh.
Toady Fields could be dirty. Phyllis Diller.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, funny stuff.
I've heard her say like some outrageous shit.
Oh yeah.
Hold on, I think I found one of hers. Hold on.
It's
haven't seen this one.
that era is good. I mean, I was fortunate enough to see Dick Gregory live.
Okay.
Wow.
That was an amazing.
Yeah, Dick
that was amazing.
Moms like to see boys and girls that she grew up with and everything, you know. But I got here this afternoon for rehearsal, and then one of my
That's not her. That's someone
Oh,
acting
someone
as
doing it?
mom.
Okay, because I haven't seen her. That's why I said, hold on.
Mom Mabley had no teeth. She had no teeth at all. And she was just going up there, just like telling you, man. I don't know what's going on there. I can't hardly understand a single word you say. That was Mom Mabley.
Right?
Oh, I know who you're talking. Okay, that's hold on.
That's an actor that's an actress trying to do Mom's Mabley. I can do a better Mom's Mabley than her. Oh, there she is.
No student, I got up no high in the Empire State with hook up in my head and my ears stopped up. Couldn't hear nothing. Oh, you talk about somebody being miserable. But that little girl on the plane was so nice. The stewardess. Yeah, the stewardess, bless her little heart. She tried to do all she could. She said, Mom, I can't hear nothing, honey. I can't hear nothing. She said, Mom, chew this chewing gum. Maybe that'll help you, you know? I chewed and chewed, it didn't help me. We started over Denver, across them mountains, and got caught in an electric storm. And that plane started dipping, and I started dipping with it. My head started going around. I couldn't hear nothing. I said, do something for me, honey. I'm dying. She said, Mom, drop your jaw. And I misunderstood.
Crazy. Yeah.
Classic stuff. Just, I mean,
it is. It's just we don't have anything like that today. It's sad. Jeremiah Hombre for $5. Seriously, you guys don't want to mention Robin Williams? I love Robin Williams.
Yep. I met him
really?
Went on a 20-minute walk from Second City over to the Hard Rock Cafe so he could see his chum Levon Helm. Levon Helm was playing at the Hard Rock in Toronto, and he said, does anyone know where the Hard Rock is? I said, I know, it's a 20-minute walk from here. And I said, I'll take it. He said, sure. So we chatted for a good 20 minutes on the way there, and that was fun.
I mean, the competition during that time must have just been nuts, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of camaraderie, though. And to do quite frank, that's still there. The competition is more like, two golfers where, one guy hits a really good shot and the other guy's going to go, okay, yeah, that's good. I mean, I hate you.
Right.
But that's still a really good shot.
Got you. But what about it? But then you started having them slowly canceled. Like, wasn't Kramer canceled a few years ago?
Yeah, but he got it. He was canceled for different.
I don't remember the reason why. I just remember.
I remember.
Oh, I don't. What happened?
So basically, the problem is he got canceled not because of his comedy, but because what he did wasn't comedy, right? Like he was getting heckled, and he took it personally. He got heckled by some black people in the audience, and just like regular heckling, right? Nothing crazy, and he basically stopped his bit and just went on this racist like tangent, right? And
really? I didn't know.
Well, then he thought it was funny.
That had nothing to do.
I saw it.
That had nothing to do with the bit, and yeah, so he, he
it
did
wasn't his bit,
and he did the rounds, but yeah.
So that wasn't his bit, is what you're saying. I thought that was a bit back then.
No, the issue is that Richards isn't really a stand-up.
That's the problem.
Comic.
Yeah.
He's a funny actor.
Mm-hmm.
If you get someone like, oh God, I'll think of some like Goldberg. No, anyway, I'll remember. A true comedian will get themselves out of any pickle.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Even if you get caught in some kind of conundrum that some kind of problem that you've stuck yourself into, where suddenly you're saying something that is, racist, and you push the boundary, you will Bobcat Goldthwait. I mean, he's a true comedian. And you go for the jugular, and sometimes you get stuck in a bad place, but you'll find your way out. Whereas Richards couldn't. I saw that bit. It was embarrassing. He should have shut up, but he kept going and going and going and driving it home, thinking that repetition would somehow be funny, but it didn't work because he's not a true stand-up.
Well, yeah, and the problem is a lot, especially nowadays, like these recent comedians, like they're basically they're not funny, man. But they're like, I was watching a video on Instagram a couple of days ago, and it was this female comedian, and she's young, and she was doing this really weird leftist comedy, which whatever, people were laughing, I guess, but she was getting heckled, and then she stopped her act, she stopped her routine to basically chastise the guy, right?
Really?
And virtue signaled and all this other stuff, and called the patriarch. I'm like, you're a comedian. What are you?
Wrong place.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that's no good. That's no good. Not at all.
But these are the modern comedians now, though.
Well, the thin skin, number one. But the other problem is, it's like there is one person I have seen who did what Paul was describing, and it was my brother showed it to me. I think it went on for 7 to 12 minutes. It was Bill Burr. He went on this rant and he kept building it up, but he was attacking the audience because they were fucking with him. But he did it brilliantly where he won them over in the end. I never saw it. He went off something like, I hate you motherfuckers. I'm going to keep fucking doing this. But the way he did it, you would hear the audience slowly moving towards him. And unfortunately, that Bill Burr got introduced to a strap-on by his wife.
Yep.
And, he's completely changed and destroyed his career. I think.
Yeah, Bill Burr's been neutered, man.
Neutered. The problem is he called out stupid on all sides. That was his shtick. And now,
why are you going and telling everybody, justify what you do? It's like, fucking justify what you do. That piece of shit car that you're making that the government financed. No,
but you know what you just said? You said that Elon still has a job. He's the richest man in the world. There's nothing they can do to him. And that's all he proved. There's nothing anybody can do to him by throwing up when he did that. What do you take from him?
He's
not
lost
Kyrie
it.
Irving. He's not Kanye. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, but you keep.
He's never really.
I don't know.
had it.
I
don't
thought
know
he
how
was
this
funny.
shit
He's
works.
got
I'm
some
just
great
saying that
routines.
if you said the wrong thing as a comedian, all of a sudden you lost your TV
But
show.
you're not the richest man in the world. If he was the richest comedian in the world,
I'll be
ever.
honest. Bill Burr's lucky. He
Man,
was
I
just the
don't
funniest
care.
guy in the bar. That's what he is. He's not that great as a comedian.
right, but he used to be. I always
I
liked him,
never
but I
thought he
think
was that great. I've told you guys for a while he was nothing but a fucking cuck, and nobody listened to me.
Well, no, you can listen. You go based on the routine, and his feminist routine is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
the guy is a professional.
He had good material.
he did, and he did it well, DAB, with the fact that he did, at least when I started watching him, it was calling out the stupid. I love that. He kind of did it, and that caught me. I'm like, okay. But then when he comes here and he starts talking about Musk and Zeke Heiling, I'm like, he didn't do that. Play the fucking video and you can see it.
And does that while being an immigrant too, which is kind of veterans that people in the armed services that died trying to stop Hitler. And then this guy comes in, and does that while being an immigrant too, which is kind of the whole thing. Just none of it like tracks how you can be the support the troops, America, love it or leave it. And then this guy comes in and gives a shout out to Hitler.
No, he didn't. That's so stupid. Bill Maher had a run-in with Burr. I didn't know that. In one of his little basement videos, they butted heads pretty good, and I would have to say Maher. I was rooting for Maher.
Well, Maher butted heads with a friend of his this weekend. Let me get through these and I'll play that. It was interesting. Not in a bad way. It was very good debate. Hemorrhoid hurts for $2 Australian. Love e-polling news, but wife hates it. So win-win. There you go, Paul.
You know
That's
what?
beautiful.
I have that. I'm getting that a lot lately. That the husband likes me and the wife hates me.
I love it. I think that's great. Thank you, Hemorrhoid Hurts.
Thank you so much.
Monkey foot bacon armpit.
Oh my God. No, he's a praying mantis.
For body heat. I think this is from body heat.
I know. No.
Yeah, Dylan Mulvaney this week got trashed. There's like a list of things that the left is like getting slammed. Tried to make this big splash. It like lasted for about 30 minutes. And it was gone. Threw a fit for it. Dylan Mulvaney for the sexy role. LOL, not. I agree.
Why would you even put that in the atmosphere like that? Why would you even throw that in there, man?
How dare you?
You're right.
Big D, a member for 10 months. Great panel today. Hello, my fellow Canuck Paul. That's
make
cool.
make Canada mediocre again.
That's a film that I loved. You hoser. I always what was it called? Strange Brew? Was it Strange Brew?
Oh, Strange Brew. Yep.
I love
There's my make Canada mediocre again hat.
I love that. It's the Bobos. My brother from another mother became a YouTube member for George the Giant Slayer. I love it. Can't wait for the next member stream. I know I said it the last 2 weeks, but this Saturday we're definitely having it. I had to take care of some stuff this week. Captain Salty. Oh, wow, he's got Snake Plissken.
Oh, you kidding? Norm Macdonald was fantastic.
No,
sweet
was.
guy. Yeah,
he was absolutely no love for Norm Macdonald. No, absolutely.
No, yeah, and he's had Mensa level IQ, and one day he decided in Ottawa to just live on the street for 2 years, and then he came back, and I saw him at Yuck Yuck's first time. I think his first appearance there, and he just killed. And unbelievable talent. I became good friends with him, and then visited him in LA. But he was a strange, wonderfully strange guy who would suddenly leave a restaurant that you were in and lose himself someplace, and you'd have to get a posse together to find him.
Oh wow, wow!
Who was
really,
that?
really, Norm Macdonald.
Oh, Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, really,
Norm
really nice
Macdonald.
man.
Here is where Bill Maher went head to head with a friend of his, and he was shocked by the answer.
Oh, I saw.
I will agree with him there. I had never heard of a MAGA leftist.
I agree with that makes zero sense.
I know. I was like, "You're what?"
No, what she's saying is she has a lot of liberal friends, and she wants to try to keep those liberal friends, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to keep him after this. Yeah, Andrew.
I mean, I love Bill Maher. I mean, the thing is, he's able to disagree with people without freaking out and pushing back, but as a Canadian, certainly there's some things that Trump is doing that's affecting even Canada in a positive way, from the DEI bullshit and things like that. But he shouldn't be lying about certain things. So there isn't a $200 billion trade imbalance between Canada and the United States. It's a complete lie. It's maybe a quarter of that. And he's counting all sorts of weird things like military and the
milk,
Noranda and stuff like that. But there's all sorts of not checks and balances. But I don't want to get into the details of it.
All right.
But it's not helpful when he pulls a number out of his ass that's completely untrue. Don't lie. Like I don't understand to what this is part of his art of the deal trick. There isn't a $200 billion deficit in Canada's favor.
Yeah, I think he's talking about it over the last years.
Well,
at least that's how I took it. The problem is he wants to basically be. I think it's part of his negotiating strategy, because he wants to reset the table. Basically, America has been tariffed to death by every other country in the world in one form, fashion, or another since the Marshall Plan, since after World War II. And one of the things that he's talked about is that he wants to erase the income tax for anybody making $150,000 and less. And he said, we used to have that for the first 100 plus 50 years. We didn't have that. Why? Because we depended on tariffs. And so he wants to make them reciprocal till they're wiped out. He's
sure. And there's some ridiculous Canadian tariffs, 200% on dairy and things like that. I mean, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what I think is the most controversial thing is America itself forgot to compete and decided that, okay, we're just going to send all our steel stuff over to China. And no, they stopped. A lot of American businesses stopped investing in their own business because of, I don't know, greed. I mean, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but I know, for instance, Hamilton, which is not far from where I live, they invested billions of dollars to create the finest steel in the world. And the solution of the American steel manufacturers like US Steel was to put tariffs on Canada. They didn't invest in equipment to make their steel as good as what was coming out of Hamilton. And there's this story is repeated over and over again. No one talks about the fact that Walmart, I believe, is the one that shipped off most of the American jobs to China.
Walmart, Target, Exxon. But that's the problem is he is having to clean up the mess done by 45 years of the Uniparty, basically managing the decline of America.
So the thing is, how do you manage that? Do you manage it by
You have to
getting a capitalist to say invest? Like, you guys, you should be investing in our own country. But what's mechanism do you prevent everything from going to China? I don't have a solution.
Right, but his solution that he said, it was kind of the same way he did it in his first term, is he's talking about tariffs. He never got to go to put the reciprocal tariffs on everybody, but he's like, basically, if you make it in America, there's not going to be any tariffs. That's how he's bringing in the companies back. He's also showing, like, he goes, you go to Europe. When I was in Greece a few years ago, and Athens, I think I counted, this is a little bit of an exaggeration, but you're talking about 5 to 10 American cars out of a population of a few million. It was the same way in Germany when I was there. It was the same way in the UK. He's addressed things like that. Why do you not see our manufacturing? Why do you see our cars, our products in Japan, in Europe, in the Mediterranean, in London? You don't. We're tariffed to death. Our products don't go there. She's like, fine, we're going to level the playing field. We're going to stop providing the money for all the European countries, for the EU nations. And guess what? Those manufacturing companies are going to come here because they're not going to have that burden on them. And those tariffs will provide us money. I think that's a great plan. Now, how he says it, how he does it.
Well, I've got one solution, is that the United States has to find a way to rejig the markets, the stock markets, so everyone is not going for a short-term fix.
I agree with that.
That has crushed American investment, because you could get sued for not making the kind of money that you were supposed to make in the first quarter or whatever. Everyone is scared to death of a long-term plan. One of the things that the Japanese did that shocked everyone in the United States is that, let's say it costs $1 billion to create a stamping machine for General Motors. The Japanese would actually make 2 of them. Just so if one line went down because the stamping machine had to be fixed or serviced, they could just flip all the manufacturing over to the second stamping machine.
Right.
The American manufacturers would never do that. They'd rather let the line rot in hell until they got the stamping machine up and running again, because the idea of investing an extra $1 billion just to maintain the assembly line, that would be going against what was fiduciarily required of them with regards to what the stock market wanted out of these short-term fixes, short-term profits, everything. You get rid of hedge funds, you get rid of shorting. I don't know what the solution is, but the stock market is also killed American manufacturing, and to be competitive.
Of course they did, because we used to have Main Street, which used to drive politics, and then it switched from Main Street to corporate America, and they stopped paying attention to Main Street, which was your everyday average person. Red French Moon, by the way, thank you for that. The last time I was there was 7 years ago, and I was in Lunenburg and in Berlin and then in Athens, and the few people that I saw with American cars, I mean, they were paying, what was it? It was a Ford F-150, I believe, and they paid almost 55,000 euros for it, or 65,000, when here it was 25,000. It was very expensive. It wasn't for the average person. I think that's what he was talking about. Now, if they have them more now, that's great, but I think he wants everything to be free. That's why when Trump says fair trade, he says free and fair trade. Let's have no tariffs for everybody. You don't have it for us, we won't have it for you. Best product wins, best manufacturing. Anyway, real quick, now I want to get to Daredevil, which I've been doing.
Well, how did we get here? You got me on this non-entertainment chat.
Yeah, we got here. I don't know how we got here. I think we got here because of Bill Maher.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would love to see America be more competitive and invest in their own industries.
100%. Yep. 100%. I would. That's what I want to see. I think that's why, I mean, think about it. You have a man who has to correct the faults of 45 years of people who didn't give a shit about the country, politicians who just used it. And it's a tough road.
Onto fun stuff.
On to fun stuff. Yeah, Daredevil. How has everybody been enjoying it? Because the viewership isn't pointing it out. I've kind of liked it.
I don't get it, man. I'm enjoying all of it. I you know what? Look, yeah, like everyone else, I kind of didn't like the whole killing Foggy off at the beginning, but for the most part, though, it's been a pretty fun ride. It's been a pretty enjoyable ride. Like I'm not going to compare it to the Netflix series, because it's not the Netflix series, right? But I get why people might be upset, but I don't see it. The writing has been good. Yeah, there have been some little issues where I'm like, okay, maybe that wouldn't happen or maybe that wouldn't happen. But overall, right? Like I saw someone arguing about the fact about like how the Kingpin, filling a pothole was a big issue, right? Because it was stupid and that would never happen. And this is how they should have did that. And, and they should have brought in I'm like, guys, it's literally, and this is the only time I'm ever going to say this in this context. It's a comic book movie or show, right?
It is,
like,
but I love it.
Right? So I'm like, if I'm reading a Daredevil comic and Kingpin did that thing with the pothole, it would have been like a one panel, skip to the next thing, right? It's like it's really not that big of a goddamn deal. And if you don't like the show, that's fine. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm saying for me personally, though, so far I'm enjoying it. It has some problems, but overall, I'm enjoying it.
I agree.
I think it's a good show. I think it's a good show. It's not a great show yet, and maybe it's going to get to the great level at some point. But I think it's a good show. I do have a problem with this. Like, it feels like the slow burn, especially in this last episode. It's like, okay, let's go. All right. Because they kind of drugged this entire last episode all the way out. And they could have wrapped up all of that courtroom stuff in like 10 minutes flat and got to the actual story, which is the aftermath of, White Tiger. They should have been able to move past that. And it feels like they kind of drug it out. But overall, it's still a really good story. I like the story that's being told here with the Daredevil and with Kingpin kind of wrestling with, okay, we're no longer violent men, but, deep down, there's like that seed of violence that's trying to like kind of, sprout out and come out. And they're trying to keep it suppressed. How long can they keep it suppressed? All the events that are surrounding them are kind of forcing them back into this life. I love that story. So I think the story is great. I think the acting is great. I'm not too enthralled with the minor characters. I think the minor characters, they needed a little bit more story and a little bit better writing around the minor characters. But overall, I think we have a good season of television in front of us. So I'm not hating on this. I think this is good, but I expect it to get better. I do expect it to get better because eventually we're going to start getting to the meats and potatoes of what these characters are trying to accomplish. And we're going to start seeing everything kind of, working against them. And so that's interesting to me. The acting is great. The storytelling, I think everything's fine.
I'm enjoying it with you, DA. There's only one thing I don't like. And I share this when Dante and I were talking on the phone the other day. And I was also talking with Man of War about it. The thing that bothers me is if you haven't watched the original Netflix series, the 3 seasons, I think it's a much better show. If you've watched the Netflix series, they're doing the same thing again where they did in season 2. I don't want to be Daredevil. What did I do? That kind of like that is what bugs me. I want to see him get in his suit. I want a little bit of breathing. I want to have some meat on the bones. I like some of the exposition, but to go back, it's like, why did they go back into the well? It's like, we're going to do this again. Netflix just did it.
We're on season 4? It's like, okay, like where do we go after 3 seasons of a show where you showed that, where he's like, okay, he's Daredevil, then he's kind of not, then he is, then it's like, okay, where are we going with it? I like the story. I think the story is really good so far. I think the problem with the viewership is people just don't have Disney Plus. Nobody trusts Disney Plus in terms of watching a Marvel series, because look what Marvel has been doing lately. Look what Star Wars has been doing lately. So people really don't have Disney Plus. So if you're trying to get how many people are watching this Daredevil series in the first couple of episodes, people are probably like, I'll wait until, Daredevil fully drops and then I'll go watch it. I think that's basically what's going to happen.
It is number 1 on Disney Plus.
Right. But look at this. This is what stunned me when I called up Dante and I was like, can you believe these numbers? It's like, so it drew in its first week 7.5 million viewers, right? But then when that part plays with Valiant, when it's comparing, it goes Acolyte in the first week got 11.1 million. Agatha all along got 9.3 million.
I have the answer to this.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I just published a video on it this morning. I spent a couple of days writing it. The dirty secret is that Netflix found out that most of their streaming shows can only last 2 seasons. They found out season 3 of Daredevil did not do well. Season 3 of Jessica Jones did not do very well. And I remember the discussions that Netflix actually had, and they published some of that stuff actually came out casually, that they went, wow, pretty much none of our streaming shows from now on are going to go past 2 seasons. They actually made that commitment. They found out, yes, they found out that they just don't go past 2 seasons. Now, there's some exceptions, such as Frank Grace and Frankie,
Cobra Kai,
Cobra Kai,
yeah, Cobra Kai, and Orange is the New Black. I think one of you said it, and then there's another one, Very Something, which no one heard of, and I can't remember the. It's a lot of most of the shows that are successful have a female audience, and the male-driven audiences, for whatever reason, don't last past 2 seasons because we don't have the stamina.
But so is it because we just don't want these characters? Like, we've seen the story, like I just said, it's like, okay, you have the Daredevil in season 1, and now he doesn't want to be Daredevil in season 2, and now he rises up back to Daredevil in season. Like, okay, how many times can you really tell the same exact story? You know.
So the dirty secret is that Netflix knew that Daredevil had run its course. Disney, for whatever reason, thought there was life in it, and the bottom line is there was no more life in Daredevil. That was it. End of story. That's why it's not succeeding. The lemon has been fully squeezed. It's just done. That and the idea that maybe they were going to drag some Netflix fans over to Disney Plus was just the stupid. If any of them discussed that behind closed doors, well, they're idiots. So that wasn't going to happen. And this is why you need new product. But again, the streamers' inability to duplicate the success of the cable shows like Game of Thrones, so The Sopranos, things like that.
Well, those are kind of the exceptions, though, aren't
no,
they?
true.
I mean,
but I partly attribute it to the fact that they treat those shows more like Murder, She Wrote than they do The Acolyte. Like Disney, a lot of the streamings try to have a movie and then just expand it out.
Right.
Where what they really need to do is, if Daredevil was a rinse and repeat Knight Rider show, and I'm a TV whore, as you know that I'm a network guy,
at least. Yeah, you're
and
right.
I guarantee you it will be more successful. The audience wants really simple fare. They don't want this complicated arc stuff.
Right.
This is what the streamers don't get. Yeah, it's
I
dumber
think it's
stuff.
a mix, though, right, Paul? Like, because we saw X-Files. X-Files had like a mix of Monster of the Week, and it didn't have the arc, right? It had the mythology. I think we want a mix of that. Like, we need a Monster of the Week. We need a Villain of the Week that we got to fight and defeat.
Yep.
I think that's the real, like, if they can get to that, I think they're good.
We're kind of talking about two different animals, though. So here's the problem. Like, you're talking about regular procedural TV. They're not like, you guys are right. They're not treating these shows like regular television. And Daredevil should be one that is ground level enough to where it should be shot on, on the fly, really cheap, and it shouldn't cost you a bunch of money. ABC should have a smash hit, like you just said, Paul. And then, like you said the other day on the show, like we were discussing, you have the little thing at the end say, now go on Disney Plus to see the uncut version of Daredevil. See the scenes they wouldn't allow you to see on TV. That kind of thing. And that helps push your audience there. And that's what helped Discovery Plus become so big, was they had all this stuff tied in with their shows that were on the channel itself. And you're right. You're 100% right. But they're treating these like movies. They're shooting them like movies. They're giving them budgets of like movies. And then they're sitting there wondering why they're spending out the ass for these things and they're not really seeing any real return at the end of the day. Well, that's why.
Yeah, well, I've been saying
as far as ratings go, the show is technically doing better than it did on Netflix from what I could find.
Really?
And it's also doing on par with almost every other Marvel show, the only exception being Loki. And as we keep saying, like, Loki's an exception because it was actually a show called Loki and you had Loki in it.
Yeah.
Like, that was the big exception here. Like, and everybody actually likes Loki and he's not some secondary fucking character, right? Like, that's, to me, it's like, okay, I see a lot of doom and gloom around this, but I think the show's doing about as well as expected. Now,
I thought it would do better.
I did think it would do a little bit better though.
I thought it would do better.
But at the end of the day,
you know,
the thing I guess I'm most confused by is how badly Marvel is doing compared to Star Wars, and we haven't been talking about this because Star Wars has been a dead franchise for years, but yet Acolyte has gotten more ratings than any of these Marvel shows.
Yeah, which
so
is
that tells
odd.
me the MCU is more damaged than we thought.
But none of them are in the top 10. There's right now in their top 10, not their movies, but in the TV shows on Disney Plus. Number one right now is Daredevil. All the other shows, for the most part, are Fox shows.
Say that again.
See,
Our Fox shows.
See, and that's what this should be as an FX show. That's what it feels like. Daredevil feels like it should be an FX
or Hulu. Or a Hulu. They own
that's
Hulu.
where you would, yeah. They own FX as well. They don't own Fox, but they own FX and FX2 and all their cable channels. They just
and if you look at Murders in the Building, it's actually a very good model in terms of it is kind of a sitcom, an extended sitcom, but the rules are very, very clear in it, and you want to see the show because they know they're following the rules. Bill Bixby said his rule for the Hulk show that he was in is that the Hulk had to turn into the Hulk twice every show.
Right.
There it is. And it's like everyone has forgotten this, maybe because they're effete and they think those kinds of ideas of doing something like the A-Team is below them and everything has to be cinematic. No, it's like DA said, have the rinse and repeat part, and then have the overarching arc that just keeps on going and keeps it interesting and allows you to pull in some other characters. There's the one CSI episode where they had the serial killer who was just fantastic. He was a comedian actually, but he was just a horrific person that the Las Vegas CSI people, he would be taunting them all the time. So he became an arcing character while they were doing the other, Murders of the Week stuff in the show. It's easy to do if you know how to do it, and you're not concerned about unwrapping just some giant movie every.
It's television. Like I don't think
let's
do television.
Do television.
Like we used to get 26 episodes this season. Like there we go. I think that's what the major problem is with all of a lot of the streaming stuff. It's like they're just not doing TV anymore.
No.
Yeah, and we don't need 24 episodes anymore. Like I think that era of
I think we could do like maybe like
I don't know. I like that.
I want to get back to the seasons.
I will say maybe 15 to 16 episodes a season, right?
Sure,
that's I don't like a happy medium, and it's
like,
long enough.
What? But I want to get back to seasons. I hate not having TV seasons, and that's the biggest fucking problem with this entire
every
thing.
September.
When you're sitting here and you go, I don't know when Yellowstone's starting again. I don't know when Cobra Kai's starting again.
Exactly.
I don't know when Stranger Things is starting again because it could be 2 years.
Yeah,
it could be fucking 3. Like that is not how television works. And Paul knows because we've talked about this. Every fall, you would get that TV Guide preview fucking magazine, and we would thumb through that like crazy and check off the shit that we wanted to see.
I loved it, Tom. I love that. That was my favorite time of the year. Every September, what's coming out?
And you knew you were getting good stuff in syndication and everything.
Hell yeah. But I couldn't touch my families. It was like my granddad got it first. It's like
you had one of those.
The Bible. Yeah. It was the Bible after I
like your dad in Lost Boys.
Oh yeah, no way. But
it's funny. The model is there, and Hollywood has chosen not to follow it. Like it's there.
But we also have to look at it. We have to look at it too from a different point of view. If Disney Plus were putting out quality shit, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, right? There's been so much distrust built from that studio that people just, even if you're a fan of Daredevil, even if you're a fan of the Netflix Daredevil, you don't want to give, there's a part of you that doesn't want to give Disney Plus your money, right?
Yeah, you don't.
So they made this hostile situation between the viewer and their studio, and now they're trying to wheel everything back and say, oh no, we're sorry guys, we didn't really mean all that shit. But after years of slamming the fans, after years of calling them bigots and all these other things, I can understand why people are like, well, you know what, I'm just not going to tune in, or I'm going to pirate Daredevil, right? So this is all on the studio's head. This is all on their head,
right? Of course. It's just I thought with all the damage that Disney has done, that it wouldn't touch Daredevil, especially after the trailers and the promos they put out.
So it does touch it.
Correct. I know, but that's the point. It's looking at the amount of damage. Look at Netflix. I even think Netflix is starting to pay. When Tom was talking earlier about the price that they're paying, you know, that Harry and Meghan series that came out with Love Megan that I covered, right? It cost $6 million. Guess what? $6 million an episode for 8 episodes. That's what they paid. $6 million in episodes to produce that crap. Her running around saying, "Hey, let me buy some Trader Joe's peanut butter pretzel nuggets and pour them into another bag and put a bow on it."
But there's a bigger issue. They've broken everything. It's not
correct.
Dante's right. Quality, whatever. Back in the day, I used to log into online BBS forums, CompuServe, Prodigy,
bulletin boards,
AOL, eWorld. If I wanted to go to eWorld from CompuServe, I logged off. I set my 2400 baud modem. I would log in, and then I would futz around on eWorld. I'd be done. I would log off, go through the whole process again. Back in the day, you could sit on your couch with your remote and do something called surf. I did not have to log into every fucking app for Netflix,
right?
Amazon Prime, Apple TV. I just surf. And yeah, there was nothing on I wanted to watch, but surfing was fun. But now it's the same. You get out of Apple TV, then you go to Netflix. They've got to sort this out. And every service has a different interface, some good, some horrific. Hollywood, all the execs have to get together and say, what can we do to make the consumers' lives easy?
Hollywood is losing it right now.
Oh,
man.
they
don't
are.
know what they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. They don't know what they're doing with their movies, with their television series. We just saw, like, I think Mickey 17 is going to be on VOD in like 2 weeks.
It is
like
18
it's been in
days after
theaters
it was-
literally like
18
2 weeks.
days.
It's like, how do you expect Hollywood to survive? How do you expect a movie
Put out
theater?
shit.
It's I don't even care if it's a bad movie. You gotta let that thing breathe for a couple of weeks, like or a couple of months.
I
Like,
agree.
What are you doing? You're
Remember we
literally
used to
training
have
your
that.
audience to that's the problem. They're training their audience to not care about going to the movies. They're training their audience to
100%.
jump around from multiple streaming services.
Yes,
I'm gonna go
it's-
here. So
Log in, log
at some
out.
point in time, it's all gonna blow up in their face, which is what's happening with Daredevil. Because even Daredevil, in my opinion, is a really, really, really solid series. It's like a 7 out of 10 right now. It might grow to an 8 or a 9, but right now it's a 7 out of 10. It's watchable. You can get through an episode. It's not a problem. But everybody's just like, nah, I'm good. All right.
Right, but you just said it,
everybody's waiting
DA.
for that 8, 9, or 10 series.
But there's no serendipity. Remember when, you're surfing, and then let's you got into the 10-minute mark of Daredevil. You go, oh, okay, I'm going to stay here. There's the work to log in, log out.
Just stay
It's
logged
just
in the whole
insane.
time. Just stay logged in the whole time.
Yeah, but you've got all these. Yeah, would it be great if all the services were available in one login?
I'll tell you what's driving me crazy is the fact. Well, first thing, what DA was saying, we haven't never really touched on this, but I do think Hollywood is killing films and programming people to get ready for when it comes on service, when it comes on digital. Nosferatu, 21 days. It was a success. It could have broken 200 million. They pull it from most of the theaters. Why would you do that when a film just broke 150 million on a $50 million budget? It used to be when I was growing up, the movies would go for 3 or 4 months. Then they'd hit the dollar theater. Do y'all remember those dollar theaters?
Review theaters.
Oh my God. Then they would be there for 3 or 4 months. I mean,
There was one on Fairfax.
And then it would go to Blockbuster, or no, then it would go to like there was a secondary market after that. And then, but we're getting to that in like less than a month.
18 days for Mickey 17. What the hell? Come on. I didn't watch it. I've just heard it's bad. So I don't know if it's good or bad for myself. But 18
they spent
days.
$100 million on that movie. Like that's like, let it breathe in theaters for like longer than a month.
But what's
My
the
God,
point?
like,
Why are they doing that? That's what I want to know. Rob, happy birthday to you. Thank you for showing all the videos. Can you give us birthday boy insight? Why did Universal? I know Tom shared it. It was their plan. You know, that's what they do. It doesn't make
The,
sense.
the thing is this: there's a certain threshold that theaters. I have a friend who's a booker, and I talked to him about. He books theaters like even in the Midwest. He lives here, but it's really a question of how many people are going to the theater. Like some theaters have a lot more attendance than others, depending on what the movie is. We here in LA, like we have a theater called the Burbank 16 that Verbal knows very well, that everybody goes to, which is the second busiest theater in the United States. The
I thought that was the ArcLight.
Well, that's been closed for 5
Come-
years.
Well, I haven't been to LA in 5 years. You just crushed my. I was coming back this summer. I wanted to go to the
Dude,
ArcLight.
this Cinerama, I know it's crushed us all. Trust me, it was my
Fuck,
theater.
I'm leaving my own show. I mean, I would go to the ArcLight every couple of years when I would go to LA.
Yeah, it's
you
gone.
telling me the greatest cinema
it's not
in
just
America?
Yeah, man, the dome is gone, man.
The dome,
gone.
it's been closed for 5 years, and the
Nah.
entire ArcLight chain. There was an ArcLight in Sherman Oaks. They're all gone. And they still own the parent company still owns the complex where the Cinerama is, and they're supposed to open it up.
I saw Iron Man there.
Maybe this year, but the real problem is people that are like a movie like Nosferatu comes out, people will go, but they're not after the first week or two. You get a few stragglers in. You don't have enough of an audience on a daily basis to keep those.
Well, maybe it's because they've trained them that way.
That's absolutely part of it. I mean, I think that, and also they want to get these things on streaming services because then they can promote those movies are in. Look, it has been proven statistically that a movie that has a theatrical run will always be more successful on streaming than something that doesn't.
Okay.
Always, without exception.
Which makes more money for them, Rob? The theater or the streaming?
A movie that goes to streaming makes no money.
No,
there's no longer money coming in. The only money you're making off streaming, there's VOD now. There's video on demand when you're paying a rental fee, like a new movie. But when it goes to streaming, there's no money being made.
So then why not prolong it in the theater if they're not going to be making any money?
I think what Rob is saying, they're trying to piggyback off the current marketing that's out there right now. Like everybody's talking about Mickey 17. Mickey 17 is in theaters. So the fastest, I guess you can get it to VOD. Maybe you can piggyback off of that marketing that you already have spent money on and it's still kind of talked about. I'm guessing that's the reason why they do something like that, because to pull it out of theaters or to go to VOD, that's pretty much telling everybody, don't go to the theaters.
Right.
Don't go to the theaters to watch this movie because nobody's going to watch it. So you've already spent, I don't know, 50, 60, $80 million on marketing. Let's try to get it to VOD as fast as possible and still say, oh, this is a current movie. Everybody, hey, it's this movie that's still kind of in theaters and you can go and watch it. Maybe that's the reason why, but it doesn't make any sense because
that's the exact reason why.
Is that it?
Yes, because it's the same thing like with video. It's like when a lot of these smaller films, they would release them in theaters in like just 2 or 3 of them just so they could say on the sales slip that they send you that it was released in theaters and they could jack up the price on it. Yeah,
but
it's that whole idea of getting the public to know about it. So basically some of these theatrical releases, especially for like Amazon films, all they are is just basically elaborate commercials for you to go to Amazon and watch it there. Because they know you're not going to want to go see it in theater.
The real problem though, with something like Mickey 17, like so Warner Brothers is run by Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi. They run the studio, and David Zaslav is above them, but James Gunn and Peter Safran run. DC Studios is separate from Warner Brothers. It's its own studio.
I thought Zaslav was hands-on with everything.
Well, he oversees Warner Brothers, and he can do whatever he wants. But you've got James Gunn and Peter Safran that are running DC, and you've got Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca running Warner Brothers. Now, Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca, when they came in, Warner Brothers traditionally in the past had strong relationships with talent. For instance, when I worked at Warner Brothers 30 years ago, you had Joel Silver, Richard Donner. These were directors
Clint
that had
Eastwood and all
offices
that
across.
stuff, yeah.
Malpasso's
Kevin
still
Costner.
there. They had people that were on the lot, and they had offices, and they had overall deals with the studio, and they were making films for the studio, on the studio, and that's changed. Clint Eastwood's the only person left.
Killar killed that, basically.
Malpasso's been there for over 50 years, so he's had the same offices for that entire time. But what's happened is what they wanted to do is build relationships with talent. So you have Bong Joon-ho Why wouldn't you make that movie? Todd Phillips, who made Joker, you know, you want to keep him in. He did the Hangover movies. You want to keep him in the fold. The big problem that they made was you make Joker for $65 million. It makes $1 billion.
Right.
So if you're going to make a sequel, make that sequel. Everyone's going to get a bigger taste because that's what happens. You don't take a $65 million movie that makes $1 billion and then turn it and then make another one for $200 million.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. Now, everybody wants to get paid, and they had to pay Joaquin Phoenix. Whatever they were going to do, they were going to lay out the red carpet. But if you change, the profitability drastically changes trying to make a $200 million film. I was talking about this before, and a lot of people don't get this, but the common wisdom is a movie has to gross 3 or 4 times its budget to break even, because they have to take into consideration not just marketing, studio overhead, interest that they have to pay on the loan. There's all these things that go on. So if you have a movie that costs $65 million, you know, that's, what is that? So you times 4, you're looking at what? That's 70. So it's $240 million, right?
Yeah.
Now remember, the studio only gets half of what a movie grossed. So if you look at that number, after $240 million, let's just round it up to $300 million for the sake of argument, and then it grossed, say, $1 billion. So $700 million beyond break even is what was there. So cut that in half. So you have $350 million is what the studio brings back home. That's after the box office and everything on a worldwide basis. That's a huge profit margin on a $65 million spend. Huge. Most movies, basically, no matter how much they cost, are lucky to gross, even if something like an Avatar movie makes $2 billion, it's not as much money as people think coming back to the studio. And so if you think about how much money that you're making on your spend, any investor will tell you if you can make 15 or 20% on what you put down. So for $100 million, if you can bring back $25 million profit for $100 million spend, that's pretty good.
So Nosferatu did pretty well then for its $50 million budget.
It did, but it could have done much better had they kept it in theaters. But yeah.
Well, I mean, and also it came from a smaller company, but Nosferatu at a $50 million, depending on what was spent, think about it, it has to make $200 million to break even.
Yeah,
So the
made
movie,
160, yeah.
So and let's just say 3 times its budget. So let's go to 150 million, but it goes to 150 million because we're talking about, again, studio overhead, marketing, the entire spend on what that project is. But it came from a smaller studio that has less overhead, probably didn't have to borrow as much money and the interest payments and all those things. Nosferatu still didn't make money. Like it didn't, it's not, because you're not just, look, Anora, they spent 18 million on its Oscar campaign. That movie only cost 6. But then was it Neon? It was Anora Neon.
What about,
so the economics of movies has become so skewed because it used to be like, you know, you watch that Hot Ones clip with Matt Damon talking about the DVD world. Movies, when DVDs became popular, most movies were outgrossing on home video what they were grossing in theaters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was a ton because DVDs were cheap and everybody was buying them. Because from an entertainment, you got special features, you got the movie, and they were ubiquitous. You could buy them everywhere. So a movie that made a certain amount of money could double or triple its money on home video.
Well, you know the other reason DVDs became popular, you could see it, your entire family could watch a movie multiple times for one payment.
For like one ticket
everyone could watch it multiple times. And
Right.
I remember that was one of the reasons I bought DVDs. You know, it wasn't, yes, I wanted certain movies, but the kids' movies, all the animations I bought, things like that, it's because we wanted to watch. It was purely monetary.
Well, and they were also at a sell-through price, right? Like it was the first time where everything came out at a sell-through price. Because Laserdisc was technically sell-through, but it was still kind of a cumbersome and expensive endeavor.
And it was a niche market.
It was a very niche market. But DVD was something where when it came out at the perfect time. It also, and I hate saying it this way, but it did benefit from 9/11 happening because instead of going on vacation, a lot of people stayed home and bought home theaters. right? And then they started filling up their collection full of DVDs, and it was easy to access those because they were so much like a CD, right? Everybody already knew how to use a CD, and they knew how to use a VCR, and it was basically the combo of the two, and people seen the quality that it offered.
Yeah.
Right. It was a leap.
100%.
A huge
It was the
leap
fastest selling consumer electronic product.
I loved it.
And then the studios got fucking, selfish, and they created their own situation that they're in now, where they destroyed the physical media market. And yeah, they make a little bit of money on PVOD, because I will argue that Nosferatu was profitable, but it wasn't as nearly as profitable as it could have been. But the reason is because what George was talking about is Universal, for some reason, has this stipulation where after 36 days, they pull a movie from theaters no matter what, no matter how it's doing.
Yeah.
And they throw it on video on demand.
That's why I asked, like, how much of this is a reaction to the current culture that we got, where basically everything is online, everything you buy, you go to Amazon to shop, you can get your food delivered through DoorDash. You don't literally need to leave your house.
In my understanding,
it's like
of why
everything can just come straight to you. It's like the whole eat the bugs, live in the pods kind of lifestyle that they're trying to promote, where it's like everything is going to be delivered to you. Your movies, here you go. You got your movies right there on Amazon, and your food and everything else. It's like we're just living. It's like we're slowly seeping into that Wall-E world.
That's part of it. That's part of it. They control it, and they have direct access.
Yeah, and
but
they
here's the
control
thing:
it. Exactly.
The difference is compared to what they're doing in theaters, because like what Robert was saying is true. Like, they only get about 50% of what the theater take is, and depending on the region, it all depends outside of the U.S. But that being said, once they throw that on VOD, like if you buy it on Vudu, Amazon, Apple, wherever you buy it, sure, Apple gets to keep like what, $2-3 out of that. But guess who gets the big chunk of that? Universal.
Yeah, but
so they're basically getting $20 a
you're
pop.
shaping the culture to basically live at home and never leave
which
your
is
house.
what they want.
Don't
Which is
buy
what they
anything.
want.
Live in like at some point in time, it's like, look, get outside your house. Like the malls are already drying up. The malls have completely disappeared. Get outside your house. Like, we're gonna all be sitting in our houses. Don't go to the gym. There's a treadmill. We'll send a treadmill to your house. Go ahead and walk on the treadmill, and that's how you're gonna get your exercise. You're not gonna actually leave your house.
Well, also,
I'm nervous about all of this, because this stuff right here, where they're just trying to force everybody to stay at home and just do everything at home.
They want you to be a prisoner who's in his box. You don't leave. I used to look forward to going every single week. It was like my Best Buy pilgrimage. You remember they would come out, the new movies would come out every Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
At least Tuesday. I would be there Tuesday afternoon looking through everything.
Yeah, but the problem is I get what you're saying, DA. The thing is, this isn't helping the studios at all, right? Like, we can sit here and say, oh yeah, well, they're getting the majority of the profit if they put it on streaming and blah blah blah. But you know what no one talks about? Yeah, I could turn on my streaming services right now, and I can see a movie that's in the theater on my streaming service right now that costs $20. There's something about paying that money for streaming versus going out to a theater. I'm more likely to pay that ticket price at a theater, but seeing that on my streaming services, knowing that it's in the theater at the same time, I'm not going to drop $20 on a streaming service movie. You know what I mean? Like, there's something there's a block there and I think most people won't do that. They're not going to pay a theater price for something that's on their TV already, right? But take that away, though. If you're putting out a movie that's only in the theater for a month, right? It's like you're destroying your business. You're destroying your product.
Yeah, well, the reason is why
you're not going to see the majority of the money from that at all.
Right.
Because once you
Why,
put it on streaming, you're not making money off of it at that point. There's no movie or TV show really that's going to keep people on your streaming service. It's just not.
But what's the profit for the Electric State that just dropped?
Zero. I don't know the profit. I know the budget though.
Right, it's $320 million. How does Netflix capitalize off of that not hitting theaters? But they're willing to drop that bread. They're willing to put $320 million into a Russo brothers movie, and with all of those stars, they're willing to do that. I think they're trying to, and again, this is my conspiracy theory mind, but I think we're slowly starting to see at least Netflix willing to go there. say, hey, we're dropping $320 million into a
but that's because they
streaming movie.
can. Netflix can do that. These other streaming services can't do that at all, man.
But
how long
all these
until
other
they
streaming
can?
services have tried to copy what Netflix has done. They can't do it.
Well,
Netflix is its own beast, man.
It is, but they started way early. They had a
Right.
huge head start. The one thing that Netflix did that a lot of other streamers didn't or won't is they also acquired huge international libraries. You know, they were able to go out. And that's why they were able to get a Squid Game. And that's why they have production companies all over the world. You know, they're acquiring French shows. They're acquiring Spanish shows.
Turkish
They're acquiring
shows.
Latin American shows. I mean, they really had their sights set on the planet, realizing it's a global business.
I mean, do you
show.
realize how long it
Oh, did you want to say something?
Paul, do you want to say something?
I don't want to make it messy. There's something that we haven't covered.
Yeah.
And that is entertainment has become sanitized. It's less messy. Everything's Spotify. There isn't a single band in the top 100. They're all individual artists that have been turned into stars by producers. Things are less messy. It's a problem. I went to go, I had an album. We would buy albums. They had fold out albums with shit in it and posters. Sometimes DVDs had the extra content that people would put in it, the director's cuts, commentary. That stuff was fun. It was messy. It took effort to do. Rob knows everything about adding, like
they don't.
I don't have to talk. This is a man who knows exactly what I'm talking about. But now everything is sanitized. It is just the movie.
Yeah, that's nothing.
The real sad part about one of the things that happened, and I hate to say this, but because I had to find out the hard way. When DVDs came out, the fact that they were selling so much, when they started putting special features for home video, really began with Criterion back in 1984.
Criterion Collection. Yeah,
the Criterion Collection. Their first two releases, Citizen Kane and King Kong, the CAV versions, you were able to put like still frames on, like one rotation of a disc could be a frame, and that would allow special. That's when they started doing special features and audio commentaries and things like that. So when they got to DVDs, they were putting all kinds of special features, and the studios believed that you didn't just get the movie, you got all this other stuff too. Yeah. That's what helped the DVD format become so successful, because you got so much entertainment for your dollar. And so the studios are like, well, then we have to start paying money to produce special features. Producing special features is a production unto itself. So they started to spend huge money on special features. And I know, because I was the recipient of some huge checks when we did Chronicles of Narnia. That was basically a $2 million job. They gave us $2 million to do the special features, but that's because we had to fly to New Zealand
and do it all,
be there for 14 months.
Yeah, but why doesn't that exist anymore, Rob? I don't get
because they don't care about the entertainment value of the shit that they're making. They don't love what they're doing.
The real problem was they found out that only 20% of the audience cared about special features.
I don't care.
And so when I was working on
Superman Returns,
the Superman Returns thing, they gave us $1 million. And they gave us $1 million to make special features. I went to Australia for a year.
What about Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings was even more.
Yep.
Lord of the
no, but what Rob is talking about was what happened was Walmart did some bullshit on Warner Brothers. They said that they didn't want these 2-disc overpriced sets anymore. So they put out one version of Superman that didn't have the extra disc and one that did. And of course, more people bought the one that didn't have the special features.
It's cheaper.
Yeah, it was 8 to 2. And the thing is, most people, when you go into Walmart, they're not cinephiles.
No.
And so what was however, with some movies like Lord of the Rings, the special features, by the way, when they released the 4Ks of Lord of the Rings, the special features aren't on them.
I know.
They were, because they were finished in standard definition.
Why don't they just upscale them?
They could have upscaled them, and they should have, but they figured, well, people have the either the DVDs or the Blu-rays, and I'll tell you,
I want the Christopher Lee full the interview. That's what I want.
They wouldn't. I mean, if people knew and I've made this argument, the interviews that we did for Lord of the Rings, there are hundreds and hundreds of hours that you didn't see
You've
of all
told me.
these interviews, hundreds of hours, because what you're seeing is an edited version of all this stuff. And the problem is, another big problem is the legality of it all. The studios have to make sure that nobody says something, even though there's disclaimers. I mean, really what it comes down to is this: all of our entertainment has been devalued.
Yeah.
All
That's
of
my
it,
point. That's my
across
point.
the board. But it's been devalued not by the studios, by our culture. Our
Right. Is that why we
civilization.
don't get any more extended editions, director's editions? None. It's just all just
Nobody's
the movie.
buying them. Like, who's going to buy that? Who's
I
going to
thought
go out and
everybody
spend
bought
money
it.
on
I
Well,
always
mean,
was fine.
if
I
I
didn't-
would buy it, you would buy it. Everybody here would buy it. But when you're talking about like a movie industry that's trying to make money, how much money are you going to put into something that people really aren't going to go and check out for?
Zero.
That's the
But
problem.
my point is that you did it partly out of money, for money, but you also did it because you loved the product that you created and you wanted to give people the option of seeing more stuff around what it is that you did.
People did care. Your audience,
yes.
If you were a fan of a band, you would devour anything they gave you.
Hell yeah.
Sure. And nowadays, I really believe that it's in one ear. And like, you have pop stars, but when was the last time you heard of a song, like a song, or something that, like, when was the last time a Gangnam Style showed up? Remember that? That was
Yeah.
billions and billions.
Don't even get me started on music. Music is in a horrible
Music
place
doesn't
right
even.
now.
It used to be a unifying. When we had the radio and everybody was listening, like when I moved to LA, I only listened to K-Rock, and everybody that I knew all listened to K-Rock.
Right, but you listen to bands.
Yeah, and then you listen to and like Oingo on K-Rock, Depeche Mode and Oingo Boingo were like huge bands, and in Los Angeles they were like the city Oingo Boingo, and then the same thing was true of various hip hop acts. These bands owned LA, and when Depeche Mode showed up to town,
oh god,
they
Depeche
played,
Mode.
every single person that listened to K-Rock would go see Depeche Mode. Oingo Boingo, when they had like their farewell tour or their
got the
Halloween
disc
show,
and video. Yeah.
everybody
But
would go.
You know what, Rob? Like, we get a lot of that is because we didn't get those experiences unless we went. Now you can kind of somewhat get those experiences online, where you can talk to other fans, fellow fans, and you can do a lot online that you just couldn't do back then in the
That's
day.
another thing. Is that
and-
everybody's gone online. You're absolutely right. They've all gone. Everyone's gone online. But I would like, what's the latest? What is the biggest band right now? Top of the charts.
Couldn't
Is there
tell you.
one? I have no idea.
That isn't
Taylor
15
Swift
years
is
old?
probably
No, she's not a band.
Taylor Swift isn't
She's
a
not
band.
a band, but like, yeah,
No,
I mean,
no, it
that's the
doesn't
thing.
count.
You don't have
Band.
bands anymore. There
Well,
are no
that's-
real
and
bands
and
anymore.
why?
That's the
Why
problem.
is that?
Because
The
nobody
Beatles?
knows how to play a musical fucking instrument.
Well, no. There's no there's no A&R record companies.
No.
There's this.
Oh, well,
there's
yeah.
There's this horrific video of a guy, I think in England, working for Warner's, that talks about how to become a successful
I watched-
band.
yeah.
And
oh.
he doesn't say a single thing about musicianship or getting out there. He the point that he's making is, get a big social media following.
Well, they
that
all
was
say
his-
they all say that, and they
Well,
all.
that's the trick now.
It's
But
a
all of-
horrific.
But bands used to have, the thing is, people listen to music because those bands spoke to them on an individual level. Like, and the lyrics, you'd know the lyrics of the songs, and the bands, the lives of these guys or girls. Like, look, all the Fleetwood Mac, for instance.
Sure.
I mean, the interplay with, Lindsey Buckingham was fucking, whoever was doing. We don't have any of that anymore. We don't
Everybody's
even
fucking
have
heard
in
about
our
it.
society, the youth of America. I mean, Taylor Swift, people don't necessarily love her music as much as they love her. Like, she's more of she's your
Right.
best friend. Like, and she's cultivated. Her music captured people's imagination.
But she's also an outlier. We shouldn't be using her as an
she's
example.
an
outlier.
But at
but-
one
well-
point, there were 20 bars in Toronto that I could follow the bare naked ladies around.
Right. Yeah.
So they could quasi make a living, and the word would get around, oh, you got to see the bare naked ladies. And then you would go, to these different bars, and that's gone. I mean, that entire ecosystem within
It's
community
been
like
replaced by
Toronto.
social media. That's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
been
It's like
replaced by
you can
social
watch
media.
a video of that. You don't have to go to a bar to go and see it and then
No.
interact with people and commiserate with fellow fans or all of that. You don't have to do all of that. You can do it all on social media. You just respond to a post, you know, and that's the problem is everything is, I mean, we're all Gen
remember
X,
what I
most of
said
us
about
are, but
messiness and sanitization. One of the reasons that what we're doing is growing as entertainment is because what we're doing here is messy.
It's supposed to be messy. That's real life.
Correct. That is why people like it, and that's why it's growing, is my point. The
Yep.
sanitization of the entire professional entertainment industry, including the Oscars. They're not messy anymore. You're not seeing Frank Sinatra coming on stage with a drink and a cigarette, giving out the best award for someone, and he makes some offhanded remark about how nice your tits are. You know, that
Dean Martin, yeah.
That the whole messy thing is gone. It's messy here. That's why we're growing.
Paul, you know, I got to say something about like what you do with the appalling news. Now, it's not just a YouTube talk show. You've created a thing. Like it's a thing. You're a comedic talent and a writer, and you've created this thing. Like to me, when I watch you now, I'm seeing you, Paul Chato. But when I watch appalling news, it's a thing. It's like a show that has a creative bent to it. Not a lot of people. I mean, I would do the same thing with Red Letter Media and like Plinkett's reviews of first it was the Next Generation movies, and then they did the epic reviews, the Star Wars prequels. Well, that became entertainment beyond punditry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and watching something like that, I can be a fan of the character of the host of Appalling News that you've created, which is different than you.
Right.
So you've created this entertainment thing that is you created out of your talent. But think about it. When could we now exist? We now exist in a world where when I watch Appalling News, it's a thing like, ooh, there's a new episode of Appalling News. But then I can also sit there and be on a show and talk to you, Paul Chato, the real guy. Well, it used to be that all we had was Appalling News. We only had the bands, like no one knew the band. I mean, you might see him interview, but even those interviews were presented with a mystique to them. Nobody knew who anybody was in real life. Now everything has been demystified.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody, you know, you don't look to somebody and go, wow, I really admire this person's work, because now we know everybody and everybody's been demystified. And when everybody can talk to everybody else, no one is being put on some pedestal of, I mean, we used to think of rock bands as sort of oracles. Like when I would listen to Pink Floyd, I'm like, these people understand me. You know, I'm listening to Uma Guma or Animals or something going, oh my God. Or you're listening to like, Yes, you know, Rick Wakeman shredding on the keyboards or something. And I'm like, these guys get me.
Yeah,
But I didn't know who those guys were. I only knew them as these collective mystics that were these musical geniuses who spoke to my soul, man. Like when I was a little kid, I thought Styx was the greatest rock band in the world because they were sci-fi. They talked about the starship with headed for the sky. And I'm like, these guys get me. But if I knew Dennis DeYoung as like a dude and he was kind of a douche, Styx wouldn't matter to me anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't. And so we don't have that. We don't have a collective. Like I wouldn't go to my friend's house and we'd put on like
hopefully
Floyd
it comes back
and stuff.
Well, now that you know I'm a douche, do you still like Appalling News?
I don't think you're a douche though. But no, I love, and what I love about Appalling News though, and knowing you, is it's your creativity on display, where you're actually making something that goes beyond you as a pundit. You've created a character, you've created a voice, you've created a thing. And it's interesting because not a lot of people, there are some people like Critical Drinker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've talked to him, but he created his reviews as he has a separate thing. And now that's kind of, it's and Red Letter Media did that even before then. And it's interesting to see, like when I started watching Tom and Midnight's Edge, it was kind of a disembodied voice over these edited pieces, like these editorial pieces. So to me, Midnight's Edge was the same kind of thing. It was different than meeting Andre and Tom and Rob and when all that stuff happened. And it's been interesting to see. It's totally supplanted what we had growing up. We didn't have anything remotely similar to this at all.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was muted.
I think the final result in all of this, though, we're getting back to movies for a minute, is look, man, for the longest time, drive-ins were the shit, right? Everyone went to drive-ins when they were young with their parents. Everyone loved the drive-in. The drive-ins went away, right?
No, they're still around.
Well, not like they used to
the
be.
volume.
Not like
No,
they
no.
used to be.
Oh,
right?
no.
The problem with what's going on right now is the movie theaters can and probably will go away if things continue the way they're going.
Of course they will. Yeah.
At least on a grand scale, right? You're going to see a lot more theaters closing down because people aren't going, man. You know what's crazy is last night on the Flashcast, as crazy as that fucking show was last night, we looked at the ticket sales for Snow White, right?
Right.
We did the pre-sales. We checked like 4 or 5 different theaters, man. There no seats were sold.
Nobody.
Yeah,
except for maybe 4 or 5 every other day. No one. I know maybe Snow White's a bad example because people are shitting on it anyway. But the problem is no one's going to the theater anymore, man. Mickey 17 just came out, and regardless to what people thought about it, the fact that it's going to be on streaming within this month is fucking nuts.
But they did go to Godzilla minus one. They did go to Deadpool and Wolverine. They go to good stuff.
We can't keep using Deadpool and Wolverine as
that was an outlier.
Look at Novocaine. Novocaine just came out. Novocaine just came out this weekend.
Yeah.
$8 million. It's going to be the #1 movie. It's $8 million.
Yeah.
Come on, nobody's going to the movies, man.
That is bad. And that's what I'm saying, man. If people aren't going, theaters will start to close. Right. And then what are the studios going to do? Because if the theaters close and people aren't necessarily, buying their streaming services, what's going to happen to these studios?
Right. Well, they'll start paring down like any other
They'll
industry.
be like the
and
music
the strongest
industry
will survive. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Well,
they'll learn a lesson.
We're all going to be watching
Wait,
Netflix.
Real quick.
That's what I'm saying.
Real quick before we move on, it's because it's been like half an hour. I want to catch up with these super chats real quick. So because people leave and I don't want them to miss them. Lord coming in for $2. Chato, you should check out Zenshu, right up your alley.
Okay. I don't know if I want Zenshu stuck up my alley, but I'm going to take a look at it.
Right up in there.
Mark Daly for $10. Where
Paul, it all
Mark get
depends
off
on what size Senshu is.
That's right. I've got it up now. Ooh, it looks good.
If it's a size 11, well, that's a little too big.
But I'm bummed.
Sorry.
Where does Maher get off saying Trump was surrendering? It was Biden who pulled out of Afghanistan like a good Catholic boy, scared he was going to get his girlfriend pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Maher was being devil's advocate, but I get your point, and I love it. Thank you, Mark Daly. Always bringing the fire. Istaphobos, member for 5 months. Karen and Foggy were white, so they had to go. BS. You know what? You're right about Daredevil. I personally cannot stand Karen's character. I've been wishing they'd whack her since season fucking 1. I kind of miss Foggy. But
actually, I heard originally she was the one who was supposed to die, not Foggy. But I don't know why they made the change. But
Foggy was cool. Karen was just
well in the comics, Karen becomes a drug addict. So
yeah, and then Bullseye kills her, right?
Oh, awesome! I'm happy already. Mark Daly for another $5. Daredevil seems to have an Endor problem, which is coming out in April, making good stuff, but no one's watching because everything before was so bad. But see, that's what happens when you destroy your brand.
Yeah.
Endor, I'm looking forward to season 2, which is the final season. And I was just reading in Gizmodo an article by the showrunner. And it was funny. He was describing how his original plan was to do 5 seasons. He wanted to do 1 season of where Andor kind of like learns everything. It's his education. Then season 2 would be as he slowly grows into his role. Just go season by season. But he goes, once they pressed him in to do only 2 seasons, it changed everything. But anyway, thank you, Mark Daly. Thank you for your support. Great questions. And Mark Daly for another one for $5. Why does anyone hang out with Jessica Fletcher? All her friends end up murdered. Right? That's a good one. Wow. I like that one. Always on point. Always on point. Thank you, Mark. Darth Maul's lower half, one of the greatest names. I love that. For 2 years, people are just tired of Disney Plus shows. Yeah, you said it. Preach, brother. They are.
I agree.
And that's sad for what Walt Disney built. I'm sure he's rolling in his grave. Thanks, Darth. And then we got Blue Sunrise for $5. Drive-in TV down the same road as the movies with inflated budgets and overproduced shite. They spent $6 million per episode for that Megan with Love shit. I'm like, what is Ted Sarandos smoking over there at Netflix?
Well, isn't this like her third or fourth show? Like they keep trying with this girl.
Fourth, they failed. They had one success, which was Harry and Meghan, the first one. Then he did one Invictus, which was about veterans, except they kept talking about them. Then he did one about leaders of the world, where they kept talking about them. Then he did one about polo, which they're like, okay, good, a show for the 1% of the 1%. That failed, and now this. Anyway, it's just like, what's the thought process over at Netflix? Yes, $6 million to watch Bigfoot's bunion while she takes a Trader Joe's bag of peanuts and shoves them into a plastic bag. Oh,
I don't get it.
Thank you, Blue Sunrise. Thank you, Jim Alaska, my good friend. Thank you. Bless you, brother. He gifted 20 towards the Giants.
The thing that's always confused me about and/or
Yes.
that I thought it was a show about coordinated conjunctions with a disjunction waiting for two combinations of a preposition.
You're terrible.
Everybody, that was funny. Everybody, go
Pretty good,
thank
dude.
Jim Alaska. Thank Paul.
Thank you.
Paul. He's got them. They keep coming. They're beautiful. Thank you, Jim. God bless you.
Stop. It's my disease.
Is it because of that zoo shore up your alley?
No, I'm just a crazy Hungarian Jew. That's all.
Well, you're not Deborah Winger, somebody
No.
who hates herself.
No, I don't.
Mark Daly for $20 again. People talk about the expensive cable bundles, but how many streaming services can you buy for what your cable bill used? Fuck, pardon my language. I used to spend about $250 a month on cable. When I finally cut it, I was thrilled. And then I looked back through my bills like, holy shit, how much am I spending individually? So I had to pare down.
You have to
again.
be careful. You have to be
Yeah.
really, really careful because
Yeah.
suddenly all those individual services, you're up to $200 again.
It is, but you know what's even worse now? Has anybody else noticed that when I'm working on a video, when I'm doing my research, almost every single news site now, you need a subscription. It's like it used to be you get a few articles. It's now everybody. It's like, nope, this is blocked. Subscribe. You want to read it, this, so that. I'm like, dude, I just want the fucking article. I don't want to sign up.
Newspapers are dried up, man. Newspapers ain't making money either, so they got to get it some way or another.
The Apple service gives you a fairly good taste of a bunch of stories that at least they give you that story that would normally behind a paywall. I'm very happy with the Apple Magazine newspaper service. It gives me enough.
It just has. It is. I liked it, but it still doesn't have like a Spectator and a few others. That
I know. Yeah,
but it's just nuts though. It's frustrating because I'm researching something. I was looking up something for Snow White for today, and I went to look at it. And Forbes was like, nope, you can't. It's you did your file. I'm like, so I go to Spectator. Like, nope, you already. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't want to pay for it. Just want to just read.
But they do need to make money. Now there is a way. I hate to say it. If you go to archive.pl or no,
I've done that. Archive.org.
No, yeah, .org. But if you put this
Right.
archive.ps and then put the URL in, then it will give you the story.
It's just that all of them are doing it. It used to be like once every 20 or 30 articles.
They got to make
Now-
money. They got to find a way to make money. I'm sorry, George.
I know. Thank you, Mark. Again, thank you for that. Alpha and Omega for $5. American bands have gone super
We're
style.
an
Japanese
American
metal
band.
and rock are king and queen.
Sure.
You know, I was trying to remember the name of that female band in Kill Bill in the 2, where they didn't sing, but it was just humming, kind of, where they were with the guitars. Do you know what I'm talking about?
5, 6.
Is that what it is? 5, 6.
Something they're like the 5, 6, 8s or something like that.
5, 6, 8.
They would do it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Couldn't remember.
it's
Yeah.
the 5, 6, 7, 8s. Yeah.
There are a lot of good bands, but again,
Barracuda.
because of Bill Clinton, who allowed for the amalgamation of all these stations, we're not getting individual stations that are bringing out the tastes that the individual programmers are, or the disc jockeys are giving us. It's all gone. It's everything's been sanitized.
Well,
I mean,
it's also-
Toronto.
they've also gotten rid of everything because it's expensive.
Yes.
You know, they've gotten rid of what they want to do, and what they're trying to do here, especially in our country, is completely, in a way, they want an automated society. You know, you're paying your money with your credit debit card. People bring you stuff. They're trying to turn all of us into cogs in a machine to maximize profits. And the interesting thing about that is, you know, you see people. Why are young people flocking to anime or manga, or why is America's youth culture turning away from youth culture from our country?
Because their stories are over there. They're actually
that's the thing. You've got creators in Japan. Not everything is about, like, when they do something, there's still pride. Like when you buy a Japanese, say, Blu-ray or a 4K, when you get the packaging, there's always something interesting. They care about all of these kinds of things that are above and beyond just simple money.
Yep.
Like in America, we'll do everything to maximize our profits, to diminish. We'll do the least amount for our product. We'll sell the bare minimum. We won't put anything extra as long as we can maximize our profits. And that's happened in every facet of our civilization. Healthcare, for profit. Our education is for profit. If there's nothing being made and everybody, we're going to privatize, you know, they want to privatize Social Security, which is insane. But it's like,
how do you do that?
Well, that's, I don't know.
Yeah,
but everything, when everything is for profit, that means that the services themselves will always suffer, because profit becomes, you have to have both. You have to have a society, but we don't know how to do that in this country.
Well, we used to. We don't have people with passion anymore.
No, well, that's the problem. We have gotten rid, and it's look like what one of the things that the Trump administration did is end the Voice of America, which I don't know if people are paying attention, but the Voice of America,
I didn't know they ended it.
It's gone. They turned it off yesterday or Friday.
How much was it costing you guys?
Well, the thing was, the reason that he did that is because Voice of America was critical of Trump in his first administration. So he's going after all of his.
I see, the lefty.
So they got rid of it. Voice of America was also, it was still broadcasting American interests around the world in order to combat, say, propaganda coming out of Russia, propaganda coming out of China. So there were things, there were services that the U.S. with Voice of America is just one thing. So for those of you who don't know, Voice of America was established during World War II to combat the propaganda coming out of the Nazi regime. And it was a way to broadcast American interests around the world.
Right.
Which, by the way, we still need. And we still need to be combating. I know,
but we have the internet though today, Rob.
Yeah, this is
they get all of it.
It's not 2025, Rob. We got the internet like crazy, man. We get our stuff is all over the place. I don't think anybody's struggling to understand the Voice of America.
Listen, yeah, but the Germans had Oompa music, and it was really hard to combat.
Look, I'm just saying that you'd be surprised. Not the entire world has internet connections.
Yeah, Rob's right.
And there's a lot. They're broadcasting like if people have radios. I mean, it's a technology.
You and I have disagreed on some things before, Rob. But there was also, it wasn't only about attacking him. There was, to be fair, it did have a leftist, not liberal bent, where it pushed trans, DEI towards kids. It did lots of that. It wasn't just pushing an angle saying this. It was like, if it was like Voice of America was during communist time, when it was broadcasting, this is America, this is the American dream, this is the Constitution. Beautiful. That's what it was supposed to do.
But I don't think that, I mean, look, a lot of what Voice of America was doing was broadcasting American interests in
American interest from one perspective. It's like
the thing is, the further out you get away from America, I mean, in terms of American leftist interests, do not really fly when you're trying to, get your word out into the Chinese people.
It's the way they
who have the internet blocked.
Right, but look at the $25 million for the Sesame Street for Iraq, or the DEI.
But the thing about that is think about what Sesame Street is doing. I mean, you can look at it and go, the thing about Sesame Street is it's a learning tool. We all learn. I mean, I learned to read from Sesame Street.
I agree with you, except did you see what they in Afghanistan, how angry they were about what was going on in Iraq? because of the fact that they were putting on trans promotional shows with trans Muppets.
Right.
They were trying to impress a culture, one side of America's culture, a minority of it, onto other people's culture. They weren't saying this is America, here's all of it.
Right. Like
West
how
Coast,
many
East Coast.
how many conservative values are
Nothing.
going out on
They didn't.
the Voice of America? Yeah, that's the problem. It's like it's one-sided. Like if it was both sides even-handed, I might understand that
And that would
argument.
be all
If
of
it's
us
just
making sense.
one-sided, like look, it's clear. It's then it becomes propaganda. It is
Correct.
literal propaganda that you're pushing out there instead of an actual even-handed approach to American values. You know, and American values, honestly, let's just look at how America was built. America was built on freedom, and that's what we should be putting out there. If we're putting anything out, it should be put out on the values of freedom first, not all of this other
That's
stuff.
what we
So,
used to do.
Right, but
yeah, that's
look,
what we used to do, and I can rock with that.
Not everything is a bunch of leftist propaganda. Some things.
Okay,
are.
I didn't listen to it, so I don't know if that's
Not
the
everything.
case. But
no, not
that's
everything
my
was,
question.
but it's like NPR. Today, NPR, they admitted it to themselves. They
It's
admitted
not
it right after-
listenable. NPR
Yeah, but
right
they
now.
admitted it. They admitted
But
it after the election.
NPR's kind of course corrected back the other way because it was getting you couldn't. I love NPR, and it got to the point where
too.
I couldn't listen to it anymore.
I used to love
As
NPR,
a
and I grew up with
lefty,
it.
it was too far left.
It was so it got to the point where I'm like, come on. Now it's gotten back, especially like LAS. NPR had a significant change here in LA, and it does a really great job, especially
Let's
of
bring me back Garrison Keeler.
Oh God, I miss his voice
Frank.
and
I
his
used to love Joe
stories.
Frank.
Well, let me finish these up, and then we will start to wrap up. Dragon Master gifted 5 Georgia Giant Slayer memberships. Thank you. What an awesome name. Bless you, Dragon Master. Everybody, please go thank Dragon Master. And Tender Warrior, my good friend, you are here. Gifted 5 George the Giant Slayer memberships. Love you. That is beautiful. Everybody, please go thank Tender Warrior and Dragon Master and Jim Alaska. Everybody who showed support today. Jim Alaska for $2. Verbal was right on Flashcast. Absolutely right. Did you hear that, Verbal? You're right.
What's that?
I think Verbal is still recovering from Flashcast.
Oh, no. Sorry, I was having some technical problems.
No problem.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm good.
Jim Alaska says you were right on Flashcast. Absolutely right.
Oh God, I think I know what he's talking about, and
What is it?
I don't even know if we could talk about it on this show. Like, that
Yeah,
was
go ahead, throw it out.
no, because we got into the discussion about if it's because we talked about Invincible, and I guess in the
I
comic
love
there's
Invincible.
an arc where Invincible gets how should I say this, sexually assaulted by one of the female Viltrumites, right? Like she mounts him, right, and gets impregnated. And my whole thing was, look, man, I'm against that of all kinds, right? But for a woman to do that to a guy, he has to be somewhat into it, like, because otherwise he can't perform. So, like, and we got to this whole thing about that, and they disagreed with me and said, "Oh no, it could totally happen." And my thing is like, and they're saying all you have to do is be touched. And my whole thing was like, look, so what you're saying then is if anybody were to just strap you on the bed, right? Either a fat, ugly chick or even a trans woman, right? So, or a guy or whatever. You're saying that you have zero control over that and it's just going to happen? Like, no, that's not how guys work. We have to be at least a little.
I missed that last night. I did.
At all.
I
there's
disagree
this-
completely
and I know
and
it's a
wholeheartedly,
controversial,
but yeah.
it's a
I
controversial
missed it.
subject, but the notion of an older woman raping a younger boy. I part of my stand-up routine was at the time there was the story of some 40-year-old woman taking a 16-year-old to bed, and the papers at the time made a big deal. And I went,
Oh, it's called Macron.
and I went, oh yeah, that would be a horrible nightmare for me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, come on.
You know, and
Well,
an experienced woman asking me into her room
Sex.
and doing whatever she wanted with me when I was 16. Oh yeah, send the cops.
Well, you know what?
The horrors, right?
The horror.
It feels like bad writing on the comic books part, but. And I'll tell you why, because we just watched the season finale where Invincible just he beats the unbeatable guy, right? He beats Conquest. That guy.
Well, did you say who played him?
Right?
He was brilliant.
Brilliant, right?
Jeffrey
But here's the
Dean.
thing. Here's the thing. So you're telling me he beat the unbeatable guy, but he couldn't beat this female off of him?
No.
As he, come on, man. Like
Yeah, that's kind of like yeah. I can't fight you. Oh, please.
Sorry.
God.
Right. I'm just saying
He
beat
wanted
the
it.
unbeatable guy, and this
He
chick
wanted it.
is
wanted it.
forcing you to have sex. It's like, come on now. Like,
Wow. Yeah,
right?
it's
And
all
you're like,
the
oh, he
story
has
in
a
the book.
girlfriend, and he didn't want to do that. I'm like,
Whoops, it slipped.
By the way, the chick who mounts him and sexually assaults him is hot, right? So you're telling me this hot chick that is taking advantage of you, right? It's like, oh no, but he has a girlfriend. That's why he's fighting back. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
But he couldn't overpower her, right?
He didn't want to overpower her. That's the
He
truth.
beat the unbeatable man, but yet this chick is like, oh
He
yeah,
was too tired.
I'm useless. I'm powerless against you.
He was. He spent it all on her.
And
It's
then-
kind of like Bill Clinton in the Oval Office.
Now, could this happen in real life? Could a woman actually do this to a guy? Sure, you roofie him. Sure, if you roofie a guy, you throw some Viagra in a roofie, and yeah, things can happen, right?
That's called pole dancing.
Whoa!
things can happen. My point is just that
Okay.
if a guy doesn't
Yeah.
want to do that, he's not going to do that.
That's a little bit. Damn, this conversation got interesting.
But that's what dude. Flash Gas was wild last night.
Man, I'm
That's
telling you, the last month here, the last month we kicked it off with Rob and his birthday and his past, as we were all talking about E and all his shady characters. Then we got last week. No, it was because we all have a past. Come on, it was beautiful. And then last week, what the hell was it last week? It was something sexual. And this week we find out about Invincible getting pounded. I mean, man, this is
we're talking about a cartoon.
I did. No, I know.
Guys.
Apparently,
It's
it
a
happens.
great time where we learn.
It does happen in the comic book, but my thing is like, it's bad writing. That's just bad writing.
Oh yeah, Bob, it's great. I love what he's saying.
I haven't gotten to the last season, but I actually have been enjoying Invincible. I think it's quite.
I have. I did
based on a
enjoy it.
good comic too.
Yeah,
and it's an Amazon show.
Which
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Yeah, what happened?
I will ask you this: who has been watching Reacher this new season?
I haven't seen the new episode though.
Okay,
I haven't started the show yet, but it's on my list of shows to watch.
I thought it was kind of until the episode where you have the flashback with the female that comes to work for him.
I just want to say what I think of it. So I've loved the first seasons. This season, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like it's just a rehash of the first two seasons until the last episode, which I was excited about. I actually loved the last episode.
Yeah, I like the
they
episode.
say
I
it's
can't wait to
two
see it.
good
But I
seasons.
feel they're based on the books, and it's
Mm-hmm.
this is actually a pretty good adaptation of the book Persuader that it's based on.
Okay.
That was the first Reacher book I ever read,
Mhm.
and it just seems that this season is small.
Yes, that's perfect word.
Because you're not going anywhere. You're at this house, and you're in. It seems like everything takes place in like this small town, and it's. I mean, I get it, but it doesn't have scope. The second
Spark.
season had the whole team. They had to go to different cities and different places, and this is all sort of.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like watching Alan Ritchson walk around and wreck fools. I like the fact that they actually kill lots of people in the show. You know, they do not hesitate to kill these henchmen and things like that. And I enjoy that. And I just enjoy watching him be put through the paces. But
Okay.
the story is just not that interesting.
There's no spark for me. You said small, and I think that's perfect. It's spark, but I think small is a perfect gauge. But have you checked out 1923 this season?
I haven't watched a new season. I watched the first season, but I thought that was I didn't care about the stuff that was going on in Africa, until the son left. But the
This
stuff
season's
with Harrison
great.
Ford and yeah, that's what I've heard. And Helen Mirren, I
Wow,
love all
Helen
that.
Mirren and Harrison Ford. It's like they took the chemistry from last season and just turned it up like they're married. It's perfect. And
I
I
haven't
went
seen the latest episode, but I saw the first three.
What did I tell you in the beginning, Tom? I was worried that they're going to take this season and drag the fucking son story out, that he's not going to arrive in Montana till the last episode. They're dragging it out. It's like,
I kind of figured they were going to do that anyway.
I didn't. I figured that he'd get there after a couple of it,
Well, it's the thing is with us, we feel like it's been forever, but we got to remember it's still the same year. Like,
Right, but it's been 2 years since we got the first season.
Since we saw it, but they're still in like the same exact time period. Like the only time jump they had, I think, was like just a couple of months, I think, between the first season and second season. So we're still in that same year because, like, I'm sure once they go to the next season, it'll probably change years.
I know.
Because I think that's the gimmick that Sheridan's going with now. Because I don't know if it's going to end up being the final name of the show, but like the show they're working on for the extension of Yellowstone or whatever is being called 2026 or whatever. So
I will say this: that is one of my biggest gripes that I have with modern television and streaming. It will, again, I'll say it. Why I used to love television when one season ended, it'd be 2 or 3 months later, and you got the next season.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier. Yeah, like we loved the seasons, and that also killed the pilots in Hollywood too, which was a whole industry on itself. And Paul and Script have talked a lot about that too.
Don't y'all miss that? Where
I do,
I
yeah.
have family and friends who will say like, how the fuck am I supposed to remember what happened from 2 years ago? Like, I have a great memory, I remember, but a lot of people don't. And
Well,
like,
more money was made in creating failed products than that made it to the air. I don't mean failed, stuff that didn't make it to the air. More money was made by creative people in the background on stuff that didn't make it. That's gone.
Unbelievable. Very sad. I want to play this one thing because I think it. Wow, you threw me off with that statement, Paul.
Sorry.
No. You perfect. It's brilliant. I love the insight. It's just they got me thinking. I was like, yeah. I wanted to play this before we start wrapping up. Dante and I talked about this about a month ago, and Rob was here too. Remember when he made the Captain America remark, Rob?
Yes.
Okay. I thought that he might have misspoke. I said if he didn't misspeak, then he's not the person.
He was in Europe. He was in some European thing apologizing for being an American.
Right, but it didn't feel like him because I've watched Anthony Mackie's interviews for years, and he always comes across as a gentleman, very charismatic, very based. And this reminds me of him again. So I'm starting to believe that was a mistake.
I keep my boys humble. Like, my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. You know, my boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like, your kids. And no, I don't give a, I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tells the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he gonna straighten the other ones out. So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open the door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always, since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night. This alarm is on. You text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
That's right.
I love that. Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world.
Make sure your mother's properly serviced.
Nothing. Right. You can have all the celebrity.
What?
Paul just had to make it weird.
Wow.
No, and I love what he's saying, and it's a great sentiment, but I have a big problem with this.
Okay.
I'll tell you what it is. And that is that Anthony Mackie has played an active part in not just pushing this agenda.
Yes.
He's profited from it, and he works for one of the biggest propaganda arms of it.
He does, Disney. I agree wholeheartedly, but is this the real Mackie? That's what I'm saying.
Well, honestly, I think the real Mackie is who we're seeing right now. I think what he's doing, you say, and Tom, I do agree with you actually, but I think what he's doing though is, especially, he's playing the game, right? It's like he knows he has to do the Hollywood thing and bow to the masters to some degree, but what we're seeing here, I believe, is the real him, right? And look, man, I have always defended Mackie because I said, look, man, I know sometimes he can say some dumb shit, but I've seen him be more based than not. in a lot of things, right? And no matter how you feel about him, regardless, by the way, what he's saying here in this video is completely 100% right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you feel about him, he's talking truth, right? Like
Come on, we've created a generation from Hollywood has helped create, along with education, a generation, a battalion of beta male bobbleheads.
Well, I've heard it been said before, and you know, whether you're religious or not, is hey, you know what? Even if Satan is quoting you scripture, he's still right. He may be the devil, but if he's quoting the word of God, he's still right. He may be trying to manipulate you, but he's still right. So even if you disagree with Mackie, what he's saying right here is 100% right.
I want to see him put his mouth where his money is, though. That's kind of where I'm at with this. Like, because he's somebody now who's not just some up and coming actor, right? He's been in the industry now for over 2 decades.
But what do you mean put his money where his mouth is? Though?
Why doesn't he produce more male driven stuff? He's a big enough name. He can get behind and produce some, you know, I don't see him making like a John Wick type movie, but he's making Captain America 4, where he's usurping some other dude. Right, like that's my point.
Are you saying make a movie like what he just said?
That's not even a good comparison, man. It's like, I mean, you're saying that he's not showing masculinity by playing Captain America, regardless of what.
I don't see him putting anything out there like as far as like trying to emasculate like a very masculine character or role. I don't see him putting his money into it. I see him just
he's in a movie right now. I saw it on. It's a streaming movie that he's in. I'm trying to recall it.
It's also hard for actors to produce.
It's also
is,
he's
but
with a woman.
I mean, you know, actors are fighting for.
Yeah,
my point is he's not somebody who's just up and coming though. That's my point. Is he probably could get something going. Why isn't he trying to use his
probably is, to be
status
honest,
to do it? Well, okay, fine. I'm waiting to see it yet though. That's my whole point. I love what he said. I agree with everything he said, and you know, and Verbal's right, and it's just a main point of just like, okay, let's see you do it though. Let's see you produce that, because you're still.
The biggest problem though isn't even coming from people who you think, man. The biggest push back against him and this video, surprisingly, well, I guess not surprising to me, is coming from Black women, which blows my fucking mind, right? Black women are saying, you
what's
know,
your problem with
kids
it?
be kids. They shouldn't have to, you know, be a man. They shouldn't have to do this. And
Oh,
that.
I saw that.
No, yeah, they're not men. That's why they saying it.
Saying that masculinity is a bad thing, and I know who they're getting it from, but it's just kind of like it's weird that he's getting the pushback from more Black women than anybody else.
It's not weird to me at all. That's exactly what a lot of Black women do. They don't like the fact that Black men kind of speak on masculinity. You know, masculinity has absolutely disappeared in a lot of ways out of the Black community. So I'm not surprised to hear that Black women, I haven't looked at it or checked into it, but I'm not surprised to hear that at all, because a lot of Black women feel like we can be the men of the household if necessary. And that's just not the case. That's not the case at all. It never works. You can see what's happening in the community right now. That don't work. All right.
Oh,
you need
it's all right
men
here.
to handle business in the community. And if you don't have men, you get like shit like this.
I did this bit on my appalling news today. This is funny.
Yeah, this is exactly what DA is talking about.
I added sound effects. Oh, yeah.
You're physically hurt, but you're not thinking of why people right.
You knocked the shit out of her with a baton, but it's you playing victim. Come on.
This may sound racist, but I swear Black women have the least amount of accountability of any women.
So there's a
They try
punchline to
blame
this. There's a
everybody.
punchline to that story, George. Punchline is the NAACP has said it was racist to charge her for assault.
What?
Yeah, after she hit another Black girl.
Yeah, the NAACP has ganged
it just
up
shows the NAACP is
on a
broke
Black
now.
girl, 2 Black girls, and have decided that it's a racist event.
Yeah, I saw that.
Dante, DA, can you comment on that?
Utter bullshit.
Well, okay, Paul. First of all, I mean, you have to assume that that we support the NAACP.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm giving you a hard time.
But no, they're fucking idiots, man. And the thing I'm confused about is, why are you choosing one Black girl over the other, right? Like, why are you involved in this, right? Now, if she hit a white girl and blah blah blah, they could put on the show, right? Like, oh, they're trying to accuse this Black girl of hitting this white girl with a stick. But no, these are 2 Black girls involved. So why are they even talking about this?
Oh, I know. Well, in my video today, I actually added a cartoon clune sound. So I ran it twice. Clune.
Wow. Have you seen? Well, let's watch the
It's
end.
about time the NAACP started talking about black on black crime, at least, I guess.
I cannot stand these baby curls. I know I'm not a candidate to go into my salon.
You think that's her
and get
real
that
hair?
done. No,
The
no, the
lace
little
fronts are terrible, by the way.
Yeah,
that's
bad.
a style now. This baby curl stuff on the front.
It's pretty
Which
bad.
one are you talking about? On top or on the or underneath?
No,
the
that-
lace?
Those are lace fronts.
Ah.
Those are horrible. I'm
Gotcha.
surprised her parents let her get out there in front on television.
Well, she still hasn't apologized.
That's really popular. It's also popular amongst all the WNBA players.
Oh, you mean the WNBA players said if they don't get what they want, they'll stop playing a week ago? I was laughing.
Please stop.
I was
That is the most emptiest threat I've ever heard.
Me too.
I was like, yeah.
Anyway,
Robert,
keep
you
going,
seen
keep
the rest of this video?
I have not.
Oh,
I'm looking to speak at
watch
video.
this.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'll start it again real quick. What happens is she's the runner they're running a marathon, and she whacks the girl next to her as she's
It's a
coming around.
relay, not a marathon.
That I've seen. I've seen the actual event video.
Relay. Sorry, not marathon.
Everybody
Oh, you got to play it, man.
So you're physically hurt, but you're not thinking of my mental, right? There's one angle. A couple times hitting her multiple time, got stuck behind her back like this, and it rolled up her back. I lost my balance, and when I pumped my arms again, she got hit. I know I would never hit somebody on purpose.
This is like an SNL skit.
Calling me ghetto, racist.
This is some Tanya Harding shit right here.
It is.
Oh, she is covering her ass.
Wow.
Right, but I thought they charged her finally. That's
they
what you
did.
were
They
saying.
did.
Yeah.
And that's what the NAACP came in and said,
nuts.
no, that's you can't.
I wish I could say a line. It reminded me of the Pulp Fiction. Remember when they had the GIMP, and towards the end of the movie, when he has the GIMP, when Bruce Willis helps Marcellus Wallace, and he's like, "I'm going to leave." He's like, "What are you going to do?" He's like, "I'm going to get a couple of pipe hit." Remember when?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Get medieval on their ass.
Yeah. He's like. I was like, and she's like, it got stuck. I'm like, wow, what do you mean it got? You like, beating her to death, and it's like,
you know what's interesting about these two things? Well, you know what Anthony Mackie was talking about was basically, he's talking about civilization in a different, not just masculinity, but what is our civilization at the very basic level? Teaching young men respect, teaching young men responsibility. These are the things that build a civilization. They're not just, it has nothing to do with race. It has to do with culture, and it has to do with literally building a working society. What he's asking for is for people, I guess he has 3 sons. He didn't say he had a daughter, so I assume he has 3. Is it 3 sons? He's got a 15-year-old and 2 other kids.
I know he got a 15. Yeah, I'm not sure.
What he's teaching him what to do is to create a working, you're going to be a working, functioning member of the civilization as moving forward. And that's something like I see, you look at online, you see the way people interact with each other. They have no sense of that at all. They have no sense of the fact that, you know, he's making his 15-year-old son responsible for the family. You know, you've got to lock those doors. You're here to take care of your mother, your siblings, and I expect you to do your job. And he's instilling in his son a sense of not just taking care of the house, but when he goes to a job or something, he's going to have that sense of responsibility instilled in him. He'll think twice. He'll be able to look at things and go, that needs to get fixed. Somebody needs to go take care of that. And these were basic ideas when I was growing up. You know, in a way, we had mechanisms, even in school. You know, we were taught to take responsibility for things. If something is broken, if there's a leak, let's go fix it.
Yeah, but you can do that with all your kids. I have 2 kids, and
that's what I mean. You do it with all you.
Yeah, and when they were young, I told both of them, "I'm not your friend." 1, and I don't give second chances. Ever. And so if something, now my daughter was okay with it, drove my son nuts. Dad, can I just have a second chance? No, I hate you. But both good kids, love them to death. And the thing is, one of my rules too was whenever we got a new car, everyone had to learn how to change the tire. I would pull out the tire wrench. I made everyone change the tire, and my daughter hated it. Now, she happens to have married a neurologist who is all thumbs, can't do anything. She's changing the tires, and she is so proud.
Of course,
and then other women go, "Whoa, you just changed the flat tire. How'd you do that?" But she hated it when I taught her that because she's a girly girl.
Yeah, we all hate these things when our parents teach them, and then you look back and go, "God bless you for teaching them."
And yes, and they appreciate that, and there's different ways of not the disciplining isn't the right word, but you got to be creative, and you've got to make sure that you also don't strip the self-confidence.
And the shot color helps too.
Yeah. And, one time my daughter, at 3 years old, threw a tantrum because she didn't have her nap, and we were in a giant mall, and she flopped down onto the terrazzo concrete floor, and she's just like screaming at the top of her lungs, and people are like walking by looking at us, and I went, okay, what am I going to do? Like pick her up, drag her away? No, I laid down next to her, looked up at the ceiling, and I went, wow, Haley, I've never seen the mall from here. Then I heard her shut up almost immediately, and she went, Dad, get up. No, I like it here. The floor is nice and cool and everything else. Dad, you're embarrassing me. Okay, let's get up. And so we got up, and she never did it again. Not that I was trying to prevent her from doing it again. It's just, as a comedian, it was kind of an improv-y moment. And I went, how do I not, just pick her up? And I heard parents walk by, and I could hear them say, oh, he should have just picked her up and taken her out of the Star. Like, why isn't he just like showing her what to do? Like, pick her up. Pick up your daughter and just take her.
Most of those people don't have kids either, usually.
Well, no, they did. They were dragging their own kids. They had in a pram. They were, the thing is, there's lots of ways to parent, but I agree with what Mackie is talking about.
Absolutely.
Well, he's raising responsible kids, which is great. But I think he needs to take some responsibilities otherwise too. That's all I'm saying.
But he also, you have to understand, if you're an actor, you don't necessarily have power.
That's true.
When you're hired, when you're hired by Disney, you
have none.
Yeah, but what happens when you're on the top and you're on the top of the food chain?
But Mikey in the chat was saying he did produce some movie. I didn't remember the name, like Elevation or something like that.
Yeah, that was that was something. But that's what he's trying to. It's really hard to do that, though.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really hard to get anything.
Especially these days in Hollywood. I mean,
yeah, it's
always. Not everyone can crank out a free enterprise.
No. Yeah, for the most part, Anthony Mackie has been pretty based. He makes some off-handed statements, and I'd say call him out when he makes it. But for the most part, he's been solid as a man, as an actor. He's
had a great career.
He's not as bad as some of these other guys.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear that.
And people love to jump on the whole thing of him saying, oh, Captain America isn't American. It's like yeah, he said words, but you guys have to understand the context of it, or what he was saying. Man. He was, in Italy. He was trying to promote the movie. He was trying to say that the ideals of Captain America should be the ideals of everybody, everywhere, not just in America, right?
Yeah,
obviously he didn't say it. It didn't come out right. But people, they like to jump on these things and write it, and it's like, I get it, right? I get it, but
they've been burned.
I think he needs to be very.
I'm saying I get it because they have been burned, but context means a lot.
That's why
what I think people are recollecting that horrific dressing down he gave the senator in the TV series. That was better. Those weren't his words. Right. But I think people are attaching that terrible scene to him. That's just a thought.
I think what Mackie needs to do is be very careful on how he speaks, because he does talk sometimes just from an emotional standpoint instead of like carefully thinking through what it is he's saying.
Right.
He needs to be better prepared.
Well, he did it.
And he should be at this point in his career. He should be better prepared when he's out in front of a camera and he knows that the cameras are rolling and everybody's listening. He has to be better prepared for that. This particular podcast, he's sitting in and he's talking to other black men. These are all football players, and he's being very vulnerable, and he's talking about himself and his career and how he is as a father. And I listened to the whole podcast. It's a solid podcast. He has a moment in there where he's talking about, like, you know, success, and that success is given, it's not earned, and we've been lying to our kids, you know, about that. And I thought that was a bad moment. But again, when you listen to it in its entire context, okay, I get where he's coming from. He's talking about his own personal, like, experience with him as an actor.
And he's not wrong. I mean, yeah, he was.
And he's not wrong about. He's not. You're right. But my point is that he has to start thinking these are going to be sound bites. These are going to be clips.
That's the problem. Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, because what he was saying was like, you know, you can strive to be the best, right? But even if you're the best, you still have to be picked. You still have to be chosen by the elites, right? Like, there's a lot of talented people, but look at all the stars we have, right? It's a tiny percent. That means someone picked those stars, right? Now, yeah, you have to have talent to get there, but talent alone isn't enough. Being smart alone isn't enough. You need something extra to get you to be on that level of success. And that's what he was saying. It's like, yeah, you could be the most talented, smartest person in the world, but what does it matter if you're not lucky enough to get put in a position where you could be successful, right?
The only problem is the way that it came in that clip. It sounded like he was down talking hard work. And it's like, okay, don't down talk the hard work. Maybe, you know, again, you got to be careful because you're going to get clipped because you're Anthony Mackie. You're a big star. You're going to get clipped and you're going to fall victim to soundbite chicken where you're, oh, shoot, man, you just got caught up in the game and now everybody is roasting you. I even made a video on it, you know, but I have to like go back and say, look, I made a video about it. Like, no, but I tried to see it from his standpoint. Okay, he's an actor, and as an actor, this is like, you know, you got to audition, you know, and maybe there's two people in an audition and, you know, they might go with the other guy instead of you, even though you might be the better actor, but it might be because, you know, you look a certain way or act a certain way, or maybe you were nice to him or whatever. You know, there's a game that's always being played at every stage of life, and you got to understand the rules of the game, you know, whether you're in corporate America, whether you're an actor, whether you're a singer, whether you're whatever, you got to understand that there's rules to the game. And so that's basically what Anthony Mackie, and at least that's what I got out of it. He's saying, look, it ain't always just talent. It ain't always just how good you are. Sometimes it does come down to you being more skilled or you playing a game differently.
Or just knowing the right people.
Other guy is playing.
Or,
you know,
it's not always about the cigar, like Monica said. Yeah. But all right, let's just I'm gonna read these super chats and we're out of here.
George, real quick before you do that, I want to say, can I share something with you?
Of course you can.
Okay, so I'm doing this you know, it's March Madness time, and I'm doing a March Madness for best action hero. Okay, and I'm gonna be running this on my channel. Share that if you will. This is my bracket. I want to get everybody's opinions in terms of, this is just a preliminary bracket. We may change some of these names around, but if you guys could like, and I'll look at the chat later or look at the comments later if you guys have any comments. But fellas, look at my regionals, look at my 64 top actors as far as action heroes, and there's some women in there as well. Give me what you guys think. Is there anybody I'm missing? Anybody that should be removed? What do you guys think?
Not so far. I don't.
Who am I missing? Anybody in the chat?
It is a very thorough list.
Yeah, this is pretty solid.
Yeah, man, you got a lot. It's good.
Maybe Jack Burton, or do you already have him?
Jack Burton's in there. Yeah.
Where's Bourne? You need. Where's Bourne?
Where's Keanu Reeves?
Jason Bourne's number 2 in the John McClane regional.
Is Keanu Reeves in here?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, you kind of
sure.
I got all the bonds. I have all the bonds minus George Lazenby because he only did one movie.
Yeah, I like this though. This is good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be running this on my channel over the next couple of weeks. You're just gonna have some fun, March Madness. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe. You can get the links because I'll be putting them up as posts. All right, it's gonna be the number 1 versus number 16. Who's gonna win? It'll be a poll. You guys can vote on it. And then, you know, we'll see who is the best action hero at the end of the day.
This is going to be fun. I like this. This is
well,
good.
You even have Action Jackson.
I even got Action Jackson. Yes.
Carl Weathers. Wow.
Oh, you got to have Bruce Leroy, right?
Yeah, man. Where's Bruce
somebody has
Leroy?
mentioned that before. So yeah, I've been back and forth with Bruce Leroy.
What
There's
about
a couple other
Marcellus
characters.
Wallace?
And, like, what about people like Slaughter? You
Oh
know,
man.
what
Oh
about I mean,
man.
where's Shaft?
Popeye.
Yeah.
Where's Popeye?
Shaft. I thought I put Shaft on here. Maybe I
The
didn't. But
Hammer.
Shaft
you
is
have one there.
definitely.
John Shaft is in the John Wick regional.
Thank you. There you
But
go.
is that Richard Roundtree or is it?
Oh, it has to be.
Well,
Round.
see,
Yeah.
so it's the character. I guess I could try to break it down between Sam Jackson or Richard Roundtree. I'm not sure, but yeah, essentially it's just the character of Shaft. You know, so
right.
yeah, so that's my and no superheroes. That's the one caveat that I had. No superheroes, no Star Wars heroes, because
No
I just wanted
vampires.
this to be action movies and only action movies.
Okay, but is it there's what about again? No villains, dark heroes, dark strangers type.
These are action heroes.
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to think.
Who you got in mind, George?
What about Brian Bosworth and Stone Cold? Why isn't he on there?
Oh my God, Brian!
The movie's the best. You guys haven't seen Stone Cold? Do yourself a favor. It's awesome.
I have not.
Like I was thinking of Gina Davis, The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Oh yeah,
That's a good movie.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Connor McLeod is there. Jawa Trader over on the Indiana Jones regional, number 9.
Oh, Marriott, nice man.
What about Cruz?
Ethan Hunt, he's there.
He's there.
I was thinking of Last Samurai.
He's also Maverick. Also,
By the way,
I might move him out because
where's Chow Yun Fat?
Yeah, good.
Chow
one.
Yun Fat. We got Tequila Yun, hard boiled.
Okay, good. So that's hard boiled. That's hard boiled. So there you go.
Yeah, these are characters. So I'm thinking characters, not as much. Actors.
And Ip Man's there. That's good. And you've got Rama from the Raid in there. That's good. It's good.
Axel Foley,
Casey Ryback.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we just talking about masculinity and how much we need masculinity. I wish we could bring back some of these, heroes. This is where like Anthony Mackie could probably do some good. Hey, bring me a good brand new action hero that measures up in this group. That would be
okay.
That would be amazing.
What about Martin Riggs?
Oh, he's in there.
Martin Riggs is there. James Bond, Connery Regional,
line number 7.
Yep, line 7.
Okay. Oh, there he is. Oh, cool.
No, this is a solid list, man.
Yeah, this is fun to do.
Yeah, so on the DA's office, we will finalize the list. This is probably going to be the final list. I'll look in the chat to see if there's anybody that has any additions that I haven't thought of. Somebody did come up with Remo Williams on one of my streams, so
Remo's a good one.
I may throw Remo in there, but then it's like, who do you bump out? Like, that's a good list. It's hard to bump people out.
Yeah.
But once I get to the final list, we'll do that tonight on the DA's office, 8 p.m. Pacific, and then every day I'll post up 4 matchups until, we get to the end. So it should be a lot of fun.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I can't wait to watch that. Gina Davis, I still think it's one of her best films, Long Kiss Goodnight.
That was a great movie.
It's great.
Made in Toronto.
Oh, now it just fell down a rank for me. What the? Yeah. That's just like, I was reading last week. They said that after Maverick, they're looking at Days of Thunder to come back. That Cruise is looking at to do a sequel.
I'd watch it. I
would, because I enjoy his work, but Rob missed it. Okay,
was Mad Max on there? Was Mad Max on there?
Rob, do you know they're remaking Body Heat?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're remaking Single White Female.
Yeah. I know, but Body Heat with Emma Stone.
With 2 Latinas.
2 Latinas.
Are you
how do you change that title?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody even uses that term anymore.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Well,
I don't.
They screwed up that other movie. What is it? The one with Jennifer Gardner. Didn't they change the title for it last week?
13 going on 30. Yeah, they changed it.
Suddenly 30 or some shit like
30.
Anyway, chink in the armor for $2. I can't perform after taking that shot. Interesting.
What?
Thank you. Mexican Iron Man, our intrepid producer, for $2 is back. I have a shameless plug. Rob, your freaking Noir series is hands down outstanding work, my friend. I mean, wow. Everyone
should have mentioned that.
Oh, thank you. Episode 8, I have to say episode 8 was the hardest episode to edit we just finished it. There's a prize fight, a foot chase, in an audio drama. I don't know. and a giant action scene on 2 600-foot skyride towers.
Beautiful.
I'm through to episode 5, and it is so rich.
Oh, thank you.
It is just, I mean, you were saying awful nice things to me, and I should have remembered this because I was going to drop you a note. That is unbelievably high quality radio. The performances are fantastic.
I'm happy. Thank you. Wait till you get
they could be over the top, and they're not. Especially, all the guys, the guys with the heavy kind of mobster stuff could have been a little bit over the top, but it's not.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. It was
fantastic.
Thank you. I mean, it's kind of under the radar because we're only giving it so far. The only people that have it are people getting it from our website, but I think
who paid for it.
Yeah, all the things that the people that paid for it, all the things that I've done in my life. It's the first thing I've had kind of total. First of all, Max Allan Collins' script was amazing, and it was the kind of thing where when I started reading his scripts, I'm like, I need to treat this like it's a real movie. So I started. I'm like, I can't just ask my friends to come in. It became a SAG production. I brought in Christine Sheeks, who cast movies like Boogie Nights, to come in, and I said, we've got to cast this properly, and because I want to use it as a springboard. And it's interesting. I only have 2 more episodes. I'm editing episode 9, but thank you for saying so, because I put everything I know in it. And it's funny, somebody there's only 1 review on the IMDb, and somebody said, I don't understand what this is. How come it's not a movie or a streaming show? And I'm like,
it's radio, man.
It would have been a great movie or a streaming show, but that would have cost us $100 million to do. And there's
you know what, maybe it can be, once it's done, it might be flipped to 1. I mean,
well,
it's so rich.
I have news on that front, but I can't share that news quite yet. But yeah, what the idea was, what I wanted to do. So for those of you who don't know, Max Allan Collins wrote the graphic novel that the movie Road to Perdition was based on. And he also took over Mickey Spillane, who wrote My Camera. A lot of people don't know My Camera nowadays, but he took over Mickey Spillane when Mickey Spillane died. He had My Camera outlines that Max Allan Collins has finished because he and Mickey were friends. So Max Allan Collins wrote a series of novels that he started in the 80s, and they're set between 1932 and the late 60s, and they are about the travails of this detective, Nathan Heller, who gets embroiled in actual historical events with historical figures, and the real events had a certain ambiguity as to what really happened. And in the case of the story, we're doing the first book, and the book is called True Detective, which we couldn't use. So he came up with this idea of True Noir, which is kind of like Star Wars is the overarching idea, but each one has an individual title. So True Noir is, and then from now on, we're using moving forward the titles of the books. But so this story ultimately revolves around the mayor of Chicago was assassinated at a rally for newly elected president Franklin Delano Roosevelt in Miami. And there's some ambiguity. Was it really a guy who was trying to take a shot at the president and missed? Or in our story, we posit that it was retaliation from the Chicago outfit, Al Capone's mob, because Mayor Anton Cermak was going after the mob to clean up the town before the giant Chicago World's Fair. And Cermak was indeed assassinated. And our main character, Nathan Heller, he left the pickpocket department because he accidentally shoots a kid at this raid, and he goes off and becomes a detective and gets embroiled in this story. And
it's so interesting to hear the side of the mob. Capone talking about, I think it's Capone talking about how they need the World's Fair.
Right.
I thought that was like a highlight for me.
That was Anthony. It's funny. Anthony LaPaglia plays Capone.
Yes.
And he was in Road to Perdition as Al Capone, but they cut him out. And I'd seen his clip on YouTube, and I'd seen him on the DVD.
But just from the business side of it, I'm talking about, you don't, like, the thugs are usually just there being thugs, that they're not playing 4D chess. But your guys are going, well, we need to do this. This is unexpected. I'm going to do you a favor because you've been honest with me. I mean, it's
that's all Matt. It's great because he says, look, he even says to Frank about Frank Indy, he's like, look, the booze business is going away. We got to get into more legitimate, we have to get into the unions and we have to become Teamsters and all that. So, and when it's all Max's script, and wait do you hear episode 6.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just waiting for that.
Yeah. 6, 7,
cool.
and 8 are pretty amazing, but it's been fun to do. I'd never done this before.
It's really rich. It's like a movie. It's like, listen, I mean, it's radio. I mean, I was involved in radio for a good chunk of my life.
But we mixed it. That was my thing. I'm like, we are mixing it like a movie. I told everybody we are making a movie that you just can't see it.
I think it's brilliant. We've played it here before. When you had given me that link, we've played it several times. I think the voice acting is phenomenal. So please go check it out. We'll get that when we get back to Rob.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
It's the Phobos for $2. Robert McCall, The Equalizer, and Frank Bullitt.
He's on there. Robert McCall is anyway, but not Frank Bullitt. So maybe.
It's the Phobos for another $2. Corbin Dallas, Death Wish, The Man with No Name.
Oh, The Man with No Name would be a good one.
Yeah.
Man with No Name is on there. He's on there.
Okay, La Femme Nikita, the original French.
Ooh,
she is.
Is Leon the Professional on there?
Leon.
So I thought about him, but is he the hero? Is he the hero?
He is. If you think about it, really, he saves the girl. He changes. He has a full arc. Goes from this dead zombie, basically paying off a debt to.
I got a lot of calls for that. I'm thinking about it, but the question becomes, who do you bump out? That's the question.
I don't know. You're missing our man Flint. I don't know.
Mexican Iron Man. I should be on this list. Total racism, exclusion of Mexican Iron Man. We don't put people who are from Home Depot on here. I've told you.
Right. That's right. Just go back.
I appreciate it.
Keep cleaning my pool and shut up.
Thank you. Paul said it perfectly. I love you. Jason Webster for $5 Australian. I'm very happy Tang Wang. Decision to Leave was awarded the Excellence in Asian Cinema Award. Cinema Award. I know. I said,
I'd like to be an Asian cinema girl.
She's a great actress. I agree with you. Thank you, Jason, for that. On point. She's a great actress. You should go check her out. Everybody else should go check her out. Jason Webster for another $5 Australian. The 18th Asian Film Awards. Exuma 2. Twilight of Warriors. Walden 2. I haven't seen that.
Oh my God, that movie's amazing.
Is it? I want to see it.
You got to get it.
I've heard it. I haven't seen it.
Is
so
Michelle Yao on your list?
She's overused lately. I love Michelle.
Sorry to
Yao.
interrupt, Rob. I just had to.
Oh no, I just
Touch 2 and Stranger
Twilight
Eyes.
of the Warriors, Walden 2. It's based on a manga. It's incredible.
I've heard about it.
I've heard about that. I've heard about
you guys. Do yourselves a favor. It's great. It's so much fun.
All We Imagine as Light, India. One best film. Beautiful. I love Indian cinema. Canada films from India because they break it up by Bollywood, Canada with a K, and Hollywood. Thank you, Jason Webster. Greek Light for $20. Go Slayer. Keep talking your truths. Love your monologue. It's incredible. Thank you. Appreciate it. Monologue. I'm putting out shorts. Actually, the shorts are starting to do better. Never did shorts before. Dragon Master for $10. These kind of women criminalize masculinity because in their minds it gives the man power to do what he pleases, which is why they hate Trump so much, because he's a symbol of restoring masculinity. Amen, Dragon Master. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Absolutely. Edwin DKK. Wait a minute. What currency is that? That's new. DKK.
Danish, I think.
Is it Danish
krona?
DKK. Hold on. I don't want to get it wrong.
Or it's a lubricant.
Danish krona. I guess it is. Edwin for 20 Danish krona. Alan Ritchson as Batman needs to have him. He's got the body for like a Dark Knight Batman or a.
Yeah.
Definitely. I just wish the actor would shut his mouth, except for when he's doing the roles. Because I enjoy Reacher and I have to work really hard to not see Richmond there. Dragon Master again for $5. Seems like Mackie needs to figure out his own life before telling other men to figure out theirs. I think like a lot of, I agree with you on that point, but I also think like a lot of people, He is figuring it out, except it's happening in front of us. That's part of, I think, one of the problems that in today's society, that many people are figuring out what's going on in their lives kind of live in many ways. And we're human beings. People make mistakes. I was pissed at what he said about Captain America. But like I said, watching him throughout the years, that man was based. That was very odd. So that's why I cut him a little bit of slack. I can be a judgmental prick, but
he steps over his words a lot. He does a lot, but yeah,
that's why I'm trying to find him.
Yeah, if you're gauging it off of his standard, like, he's generally based, but he does step in it quite a bit.
It does, which I don't get, because somebody who, if he believed in the crap he actually peddled when he steps on his words, he wouldn't say what he did about masculinity. I mean, that's one of the core problems. That's why I'm like, context is king. Dragon Master again gifted 1 Georgia Giant Slave memberships. Bless you, Dragon Master. Love it. Please go thank Dragon Master for that. It's beautiful. Skull Leader. Can't wait to see you at the next member stream, my friend. For $10, VOA started rebroadcasting NPR 1990 when I was stationed in Japan. You know, I loved NPR when I was growing up. Every Sunday, Lake, I always get the name wrong. Lake Manipal, was it? No. The one we were talking about, Paul. It was every Sunday. Lake Manawanka.
The Garrison Keeler.
Yeah, what was it? Lake Wanatonka, Lake
Kuche.
Remember,
I know Lake Wobegon.
Lake Wobegon, damn it.
Right. That's one of the books.
Lake Minnetonka is where you purify yourself.
Yeah, Lake Wobegon was one of the books when I was going to work or school or whatever on the subway. I would be howling with laughter.
Yeah, he was.
As I was reading it, and then his subsequent book was a giant turd. Like it really would disappoint me.
Oh,
I really miss Garrison Keeler.
Oh,
Thank you, Skull Leader. What a talent. Red French Moon, number for 8 months. DA is Alita on the list. Hail George in the panel. Hail to you.
DA? Battle Angel Alita? No, she's not on the list. I guess, I don't know. I'll think about it.
That's a cartoon character.
Yeah, it's kind of superhero-ish.
Kind of superhero, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Walter.
Matt Helm. Matt Helm. He's got to be on there.
Matt Helm. Walter White Walker for $2. Does the Mexican Superman have an E on his chest? I think it's a taco.
DA doesn't even know who Matt Helm is.
Thank you, all you beautiful, wonderful, incredible people and amazing supporters. It's been a fun show. I'm going to play this last clip, then we're going around the horn because I found it the other day and I thought I love it because I love Stallone. It could be old, I don't know.
Rainbow. It's a very big and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are. It will beat you to your knees. And keep you there permanently if you like. Me, you, or nobody. Shenanigans are its life. But it ain't about ours to hit. It's about ours
How
to
you get hit?
And keep moving forward.
How much you get take?
And keep moving forward. And the winner is still on. And if you know what you want, don't get what you want.
That's cool.
Yeah,
great. Where is that from?
Rocky Balboa.
No, I know that, but where's that video from? Where was that?
Oh, I'll send it to you. Yeah, I found it online.
It came out like a year ago. I don't know where it was at or what
was that like at an event? Was that random? That
I
kid
really
just
don't
came up to
know.
him?
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, we could hold on. We watched.
I think it might have been at some Trump rally thing, if I remember right, maybe or something like that.
That kid's the best.
You're beautiful.
Here it is. We just watched the rest of it from where it was. Maybe it'll tell us it was here. I kind of moved it up.
Or maybe they were shooting Tulsa King. Maybe that's what it was.
Point fingers at people saying you ain't where you want to be. And they have or anybody. Powers in that. It's not in you. You're preferring that. Let's go, Rocco.
Folks, I have been called for dinner. I love you all. And
that's beautiful.
And we'll see you on the flip side. Talk to you later,
Absolutely.
everyone.
Thank you, Paul. Have a great day.
I
Thank
hung
you.
in there and I'm starving.
All right, let's go around. Verbal, where can they find you? What do you have coming up?
Yeah, you guys can find me at Verbal Riot, YouTube, Rumble and X, and I will be on Film Threat Versus tomorrow. I'll be with George on Wednesday. And you can find me on Saturday nights, hopefully less drunk this time with Yellow Flash and the boys. And I might have 1 or 2 videos coming out this week too.
Sweet. I know we went a little long. We're having a good time. DA, your turn.
Yeah, so Derek Anderson, the DA, go check out my channel. We're going to be going live on the DA's office tonight, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll reveal the full list for the March Madness Best Action Heroes. And then if you're subscribed, you'll be getting those notifications to vote. So subscribe if you can. And then, of course, tomorrow, Film Threat Versus. And then I'll also be doing the nightcaps Tuesdays and Thursday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, or excuse me, 10 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Pacific. So hang out, join in. It'll be a lot of fun. Thanks, George.
Oh, absolutely. Always love having you here. Tom, where can they find
what do I
you?
do now? Oh, why are you going to call the cops on me or something?
Yes.
Well, I ain't going to tell you where I'm at. No, you can find me at Midnight's Edge After Dark, and all those fine places. And happy birthday, Rob. Happy birthday.
And for our birthday boy, what do I
We're into the
say to
13th
you?
month of this joke. I just want to point that out.
That's what makes it so funny now.
I love you. That's why I love having you here. We get to have a birthday for you every week.
Well, thank you, Adam.
Happy birthday to
You guys. I'm, of course, Rob
And
Burnett.
so
You can
many
find me
more.
over on YouTube at the Burnett Work. I don't know. I'll probably do Robservations tonight or tomorrow. And go check out True Noir, The Assassination of Anton Cermak. Episode 8 drops. If it didn't drop already, it drops this weekend. There's only 2 more to go. And there's going to be some interesting news about the whole project coming out in a couple weeks. But go to truenoir.co. truenoir.co, and you can get the whole series. And I just started working on the Blu-ray.
Oh, nice. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, everybody. Thank you for everybody who's here, who enjoyed the show, who gave us support. Keep the lights on. Keep your voices growing. I'm going to see you this Wednesday. And then in a couple weeks, I'll start the Monday night show back up again because I really miss streaming. I wish you all have a blessed week. Remember, we're fighters with one unbreakable rule. We never bow down. We never bend the knee. Always forward. Love y'all.